Hello, everybody out there who may be watching, and welcome to the Erasmus Expeditions. Tonight, we have a special game of the Expedition Engine, a system that I designed out of some pieces from various other systems that I really enjoyed. I'll go into kind of what this is a little bit before we get started. But yeah, this is my channel. This is what we do here. We play role-playing games, talk about role-playing games, hopefully in the near future. And tonight we have a Halloween-themed game, as you can tell by my overlay as well as some of the others. It's a little bit gritty, a little bit dirty, a little bit gory and bloody. So it's a zombie apocalypse-themed game set at Game 3 of the World Series. So before we dive too much further into things, I'm going to pitch it over to my players, let them do their introductions. So let's go ahead and start with Baron.
What's up, everybody? I am Baron. I have a channel. It's called RWD Gaming. I haven't been on recently. This is my first time back in over a week or so. Today I'm going to be playing two characters, Jen Essie and Todd Farlow. Jen is kind of more of a manipulative, uses her appearance to get her way character, and Todd is a kind of just a spot on the team. He's a bench fill. So I guess their connection is they are in a relationship, so I'll be playing both sides of that this evening. That should be interesting.
Excellent. Yeah, and I do have the links to the channels that you should be hearing about listed in the description of the video down below. So yeah, RWD Gaming is one of those. So definitely check them out. Go see what they have to offer. That's some pretty awesome stuff. All right, next up, let's go with Jose.
I guess my name is Jose. I don't have a channel yet, but I will sometime soon. I'm playing Jesus Rodriguez and Carlos Mercado. Jesus, he got a job at the stadium thinking that, he got really lucky. He hasn't worked in a while, and he just trying to take whatever he could, decent pay, and then everything just went to hell. Then Carlos Mercado, he used to be a soldier, and then, he was discharged, and he got a job as a security guard, so he's just hearing a bunch of commotion and trying to figure out what's going on.
Excellent. All right, and next is Dave.
Hey folks, this is Dave with Mournblade Gaming, and really looking forward to the game tonight. Get some zombie action up in here. Tonight I'm going to be playing Joey Diggs. He is a bright young software engineer, and he's a recent start at a company. The CEO, Alvin Michaels, enjoyed his interview and has liked the way that he worked, so he is invited him to a World Series game. And so, not to be rude, Joey decided to attend with him, even though he has no interest in sports other than just video games and so on, because, well, he's a nerd. So, and Alvin Michaels is he's a retired soldier, served in the Gulf War, but has since gone into business, and we haven't figured out what company he works for just yet, but that will probably come out as we move forward. So thanks for having me. Looking forward to this.
Absolutely, man. Always. All right, and next up we have Jeff.
Hello, everybody. I'm Jeff. I have a YouTube channel called Encounterbalance. Feel free to check that out if you're interested. I also have a podcast that I do with my game master Jeremy here, called the Dudes of Yore. We have one episode out so far. Next episode should be coming out by the end of this week, so be on the lookout for that if you're interested in that sort of thing. And yeah, Only have one character ready so far, but that is Terry Jones. He doesn't actually like baseball. His dad bought him these tickets so he could try to impress a girl. He didn't even show up, so now he's here by himself. I'm sure nothing's going to go wrong, though. He'll be able to leave without any issue.
Dark cloud of foreshadowing over him. Yes. And last but certainly not least, we have Alex.
Hi, I'm Alex. I am playing Kate and her brother Kai Hansen. She is a mechanical engineer, very no nonsense, and he is a artist and hiker who is kind of lazy and useless.
We shall see how useless he is. All right. I have played with 4 of these fine gentlemen, with the one exception of Jose. And I have been talking with Jose quite a bit, and I'm very excited to have the first game that I'm going to be running to have him play in. So, yeah, I'm eager to get started. But before we do, I did want to go ahead and talk on a couple of other points. As I said, this is a system that I put together from a couple of other different systems. I will probably be showing the rules page. It is a single rules page RPG. I'll probably be putting that up occasionally while we're running the game. But for the most part, it's meant to be kind of just loose and fairly simple, narrative driven. Very, very simple characters to kind of put together. And this particular version of it, this dead-end version that's supposed to be for the zombie apocalypse, is designed specifically to be incredibly brutal. There will likely be a lot of character deaths tonight. So, with that being said, it's very possible that some of these characters might be a little shallower than most people are used to, either by design of myself, if it's an NPC, or possibly even PCs. But ultimately, it's just about kind of having fun, killing some zombies, and getting in the spirit of Halloween, which is tomorrow night. And I wish a very happy Halloween to all of you who celebrate, and a happy end of October for those of you who don't. The other thing I do want to touch on, like I said, this is a zombie apocalypse game, so there's going to be blood and guts, there's going to be gore, there's going to be bad language, there's going to be some mature topics that kind of come up. And if these are the kinds of things that bother you, then this is your warning. It's probably not a good idea for you to hang around if this kind of stuff makes you squeamish. Do you guys have any kinds of questions before we kind of get started and kind of go over the beginning of things? Anything you can think that I left out? Crickets. Fantastic. Okay. So we already kind of went over everybody's characters, so I don't really feel the need to do that again. Essentially, character choice is a style and a role, and then a series of numbers, 5 numbers that are on a sliding scale from between 2 to 9 in dead end, and they have kind of juxtapositions. So there's grace versus force, and so on. And we'll get into that as we're playing, I'm sure. So unless you guys have any kinds of questions about the system or anything like that before we get started, I'm going to get this going. Excellent. And along the way, if you do have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. We do have the chat on the side. Feel free to post anything up in there, and I will get to it if and when I can. All right. So here we go. It's a beautiful sunny day here at Game 3 of the 2017 World Series. Today, we find out whether or not this home team has what it takes to survive. No doubt, their backs are against the wall, and the need to battle this one out is going to be dire. Perseverance and guile are likely to be the key components that will determine just where these players stand when they turn the lights out tonight. And just look at these fans. They certainly are out for blood this afternoon. So, the 10 of you, or 9 of you, I'm going to have you help me set the scene. I need one of you to volunteer first.
Sure, I'll do it. I love volunteering.
Alex. Excellent. My first victim. If you would, please, sir, tell me what inning that we were in whenever the outbreak started and what the score was.
It's the goddamn 9th inning, and the score is tied.
Which, if anybody has been watching the World Series, you would know that that's not implausible in the least. All right. All right, I need a second volunteer. Baron, I see your hand up. All right. So, Baron, if you would please choose the initial moment of the breakout. Tell me what was going on whenever this happened.
There was a really long line at the bathroom, and there was one dude that everyone knew that this dude was about to go down, and no one was really moving anywhere. Bathrooms are full, you know. And he makes it into the restroom, and at this point, everyone's like, "This dude's dead," you know. He's changing color. He looks so sick, and he falls into the trough. You know, they're about to escort him out, and he revives and bites his first victim.
Excellent. Okay, who's up third? All right, I see Jose's hand in the corner there. All right, Jose, if you would please describe the escalation of events, just kind of a brief overview, and make sure to include how the main exits become impassable.
All right, so Jesus see like he hears people screaming, and they're the guy's sick. He bit somebody, and he's like, damn it, again, these people, man. So he's like trying to make his way through the crowd, and all of a sudden he says one of the guards with this guy on top of him just chewing on his neck, while the other guard's like kicking him, and he just goes in there and tries to like grab whatever it is biting this guy, away from him.
How did the main exits become blocked? How did this stadium become a trap?
Well, everybody just started running once they sounded the alarms because, all the panic going around. So everybody at once is just running. They're trying to get to the barricades, and it's just impossible.
Excellent. Okay, and fourth up. We have a volunteer between Dave or Jeff.
I'll go.
Dave. All right, excellent. If you would please describe how the stadium has kind of grown quiet now. Kind of describe what we're seeing as the camera's kind of panning through.
Well, I would say that unfortunately one of the players was actually injured on the field, and it's actually caused kind of a hush because he's one of the more familiar and popular players. So the crowd is kind of like waiting in anticipation to see what is actually happening, as medics are being called out and people are waiting. So, and you're also talking within the layers of the stadium itself.
So more specifically, kind of how it's gone quiet now that the initial outbreak has kind of died down some. The majority of the people have either not made it, turned, or found some place to hide.
Okay. So beyond that, then, I would say that, yeah, a lot of people, there was initially a lot of screaming and yelling and freak out occurring. A lot of people now have basically either found hiding places, have turned, or are are literally just huddling in masses, trying to keep quiet and not bring attention to themselves so that they don't get eaten. Does that work?
And yeah, that's perfect, man. Thank you.
Okay.
So as the camera is kind of passing through some of these concrete passageways and the big open seating that faces the field, and we see corpses littered everywhere, but not many moving that are still what you would consider living. Jeff, if you would please describe where within the stadium grounds that all of your characters have managed to collect themselves and kind of temporarily fortify. Where are they hiding currently?
Yeah, so I imagine as most people have kind of begun to clear out, like the exits and like kind of the outer ring of the stadium is where most of these zombies have gathered. So it's actually not that safe to be looking for an exit. You kind of have to break your way through. So the group of the people who have survived so far have hid themselves in one of the dugouts, actually, just off the side of the field. I've kind of managed to gather a couple supplies and block the door as best they can.
Okay, so yeah, you're kind of in the passageway between the dugout that sits on the side of the field and where the it kind of extends down back into where the locker rooms are. And you've managed to kind of barricade somewhat these thick metal doors, and feel relatively safe. It's been maybe at least 10 minutes, 15 minutes or so since you heard anybody screaming that was close or anybody pounded on any of the doors that that lead into this small, narrow hallway where you're now sitting. This hallway is not exactly the most comfortable thing. It's a completely unfinished concrete floor with cinder block walls that have been painted in the home team's colors. And the fluorescent lighting is not the most comforting thing in the world either. But for now, all of you have found shelter. You're relatively safe. And you're not alone, which may or may not be a bad thing. So if you guys would, we're going to go through and describe kind of what each of your characters looks like. And if you would like, we're going to roll randomly to figure out what weapon that your character is in possession of. So we'll go in reverse order. Jeff, you have the one character, yes?
Yeah, and I can like bring up a second one in the chat like as we go.
Sure.
I was just kind of preparing today, but for now, yeah. So Terry is kind of like pacing around. It's clear that he's very nervous. He's got like the exact wrong attire that you would want to be wearing in a scenario like this. Like he's got like a neon orange shirt with like a bright blue like hoodie over the side of it. It's just like as garish as you could possibly imagine. He's got like these big like studio headphones that hang around his neck. You can tell that they're just aesthetics because he has earbuds in his ears. And he's just blasting music, like just pacing around and like just trying to basically shut everything off as if it doesn't exist.
Okay, and do you want to roll randomly to see what weapon it is that Terry has?
Absolutely. What role do you need from me for that?
A D20, please, sir.
Absolutely. 5.
5. Okay. So what you managed to grab before you got sequestered in here is called a stanchion. I had to look this up. It's one of those things that they form lines with. It's kind of a black pole with a stand on the base, and it's got the little retractable webbing inside the top of it. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Perfect. So that's what you managed to grab. And that has a usage die of a D8.
Perfect.
All right. So, let's see. Dave, why don't you go ahead?
So Joey and Alvin were in Alvin's his box up top when the shit hit the fan, and Joey is a young professional. He's probably wearing a T-shirt of some sort that he thought would be funny. It was a like a video game, baseball video game shirt, and he's wearing a baseball cap turned around. He's wearing jeans, but he looks well cut, and he is very charming. So Alvin, on the other hand, is an older gentleman. He's probably wearing a polo shirt, probably say like a blue, and blue jeans, what you might expect from a CEO. He's got like a pretty good scar, and so yeah, these two are holed up in the box office, or the what do you call those seating? The special seatings.
Well, the intention was that all of you would be together.
Oh, gotcha.
If that's
Okay, so actually, we were watching the game, and we actually got flushed out because there was a ruckus outside, and we saw what was happening, and someone came, something came running down the corridor, chasing someone, and tried to turn and come in, and Alvin was able to fight the thing off, and as such, closed the door and began evacuating down the hall, which brought him down into the stadium and down where we are now.
And if you would, for each one of them, give me a D20 roll if you would like to have a starting weapon.
Yeah. Yes, please. So Alvin got a 3 and Joey got a 9.
Okay, so Alvin managed to find basically as many as he could carry, full cans of beer.
Okay.
They may be those plastic bottles that look like glass, or they may be, the aluminum cans or the plastic cans that look like aluminum. But they're full, so they have some weight behind them. And you said the other was 9?
Yeah, I got a 3 and a 9.
Okay. The 9, okay, so, the full cans of beer has a D6 usage die.
Okay.
The 9, Joey ended up finding one of those cotton candy poles that the vendors kind of carry around, where it has all of the bags hanging off of it. And that is also going to have a D6 usage die. Okay. I can't remember who went third last time. Alex.
That's a me. Okay, so, well, first of all, the Kate and Kai are twin Danish kids. They're not actually from Denmark, but that's their ancestry, so they look Danish. They're actually both wearing jeans and a t-shirt. Kate has a leather jacket because she's cold. They were actually planning on going hiking after this, so they've got, hiking stuff in their car. Obviously they haven't made it to the car yet, but that's just what's going on with them. And then let's see, 2d10. I got both 2s.
You roll D10s or 20s?
Oh, I rolled d10s. I'll roll a d20.
Yeah, that probably improves your chances.
I got an 11 and I got a 20.
Okay, so the 11, you managed to find, again, about how many you could carry of baseballs.
Baseballs are pretty good.
These have a usage die of a D4. That's more to represent kind of how many you'll have before you kind of run out of your stock, as opposed to necessarily the durability of each ball. The 20, okay, somehow, either finding it somewhere, somebody else had one, you found a part of the stadium seating that you have, and that has a usage die of a D12.
I don't understand what I have. What's stadium seating?
So essentially, you have kind of the bucket seats that fold up whenever you're not sitting in them, and then when you put the weight of a person in them, they fold down.
Okay, so it's just
essentially
a chair.
you have this part.
Oh, I see.
So it's basically kind of like a steel frame that has a cushion. Well, I say cushion, but
I'm gonna look up what this looks like.
cool. All right, and Jose.
So Jesus, pretty much when he was trying to like get this thing off the person, he ended up slipping and he turned around and it was coming after him. So Carlos out of nowhere came and like kicked it, and he's like, "We got to get out of here." And he's like, I got the keys to get into the locker rooms. We should head down there." So they start running. They're going through, down the hallway, and they see like 4 or 5 other people, and he's like, "Look, come." So he's running down the hallway. He gets there. He opens the thing, and he's like, "Come on, hurry up." And he locks it, and he's just there like freaking out about what's going on. And Carlos is like, "What was that? What was that?" And he's just like sitting there like now in silence, like he don't know what the hell's going on. He's never seen anything like that in his life.
And if you would, give me 2d20 rolls.
I got a 7 and a 10.
Okay, so your 7 is a trash can,
Nice.
which will have a d6 usage die. And the 10 is also baseballs, which again have a d4 usage die.
All right.
Okay, and last but not least, Baron.
Jen is she's a prettier girl. She was always smarter. One of the more intelligent students in her class. Went to college. Met Todd Farlow, who was drafted out of college to the Astros, and he didn't do good his first year, so they stuck him on the bench, and he's kind of just been riding it out. He's kind of pudgier now. He's maybe got like a goatee, orangish hair, maybe a little brown to it. They met up real quick after the outbreak, and he brought her in here because everyone had took off. I guess others kind of found their way in before he could close the exits, and they've just been bunkered down, kind of just talking amongst themselves. People watching, if anything.
And if you would, go ahead and give me 2d20 rolls for them, if you would like to arm them.
Ben got a 14 and Todd got a 7.
Okay, so Jen ended up with a fire extinguisher. That has a d10 usage die. And that's for effectively for the body of it.
I would get like one pull.
Yeah, probably. Maybe 2 if you're conservative. And you said the other was a 7?
We're not conservative. Are you kidding? This is the apocalypse.
True. You said the other was a 7?
Yes.
The apocalypse is the perfect time to be conservative.
So 7 is also a trash can.
Perfect.
And likewise, it is a d6 usage die.
Todd in his trash can.
Okay, so as the group of you are kind of huddled down inside of this small, growingly more claustrophobic hallway, what is the general atmosphere? What's going through your characters' minds as you have seen people literally rend other individuals apart, tear limbs apart, open up their torsos and abdomens, and go to town like they're at Golden Corral? How is this sitting with your characters as you have found yourself somewhat trapped in this massive stadium full of some 20,000-30,000 people?
Kate is pacing around, trying to make plans on what to do. Kai is kind of just chilling. Like, he almost doesn't really believe any of this is real. He thinks he's on a bad trip. He's in a lot of denial about it. But Kate is talking to him out loud, like she makes plans and she's telling them to him, even though she thinks he probably isn't really paying attention, but that's just how she thinks better. And so, she's planning out, well, okay, well, we got to get out there. We got to get back to my truck. We got to try and find someplace where they've got guns, maybe a police station, or find some redneck dude's house, something.
And I would imagine that Joey is, he's pretty calm outwardly. But internally, he is just kind of trying to figure out what's going on because it doesn't seem logical to him what's happening. I mean, he's watched movies and played video games like this, but it just never seemed like a plausible thing. So he's kind of sitting there listening to Alvin talk, and Alvin is a little more forceful about the whole situation, and he's trying to figure out, and he's looking around, and he said, that dude's right there is going to be, yeah, we're going to need to put him in front because he can swing pretty good. But we're going to have to protect the women and children, though. Because we can't stay here forever in this. And these beers aren't going to sustain us. So as he says that, he opens one up and actually just guzzles it and puts the lid back on and shoves it in his pocket. He doesn't know how he carried 12 of them, but somehow he is carrying 12 of these Bud Light bottles. So, and he's just kind of considering what his next plan is, what his next move is, because it's coming. He just, yeah, he's got to calm down too.
So Jesus would be like sitting down. He's kind of like freaking out a little bit. He's starting to calm down, but he feels like he has to throw up. He's just sitting there thinking. And then he looks at Carlos and he's like, Carlos, we need to get out of here. I got keys. Like, the least we could do is try to go into higher ground, or maybe we can take the employee parking garage. Maybe there's not that many people there, but we need to get out. And Carlos would be like, yeah, we can't stay here. Like, if we don't fortify this place, we need to find somewhere we can like hide, or try to bunker up better and get some food, because we're not gonna last here long. And it's freaking crazy what's going out there.
I think by now, Todd will have kind of picked up that the security guard and the janitor are talking. He's probably seen them before. So he's kind of, looking that way. And Jen probably elbows him in the ribs or something for him to get up. And he goes over there like, come on, man. You're the security guard. You're supposed to know what to do in these situations. This is crisis time. Where are we supposed to go?
Carlos would like, who was that was saying that, Jen or Todd?
God.
Okay, he would look at him and he'd be like, look, I know we need to do something, but you freaking out is not going to help. So if you want to help, how about he opens the door and me and you take a swing at whatever's coming and we try to make our way somewhere. We need to do something. I mean, there's a lot of us. We should be okay.
I think that's when I pick up the trash can. Locker room waste bin.
So it sounds like a plan is beginning to develop. And it sounds like that plan is to head out of the door back into the field side dugout. And maybe, onto the field from there? Or do you wish to go the other direction, more into the locker room and bowels of the stadium, if you will?
Well, if we can get to the dugout, there's going to be baseball bats there, right?
A very good chance of that, yes.
And baseball bats are sure as hell a better weapon than me throwing baseballs at people. So I'm all for that. Eventually, though, we should try and get out of here to our, cars where we have stuff. I'm sure other people have things that they could take out of their cars. Even if we decide to stay in the stadium afterwards, we got to go get resources.
Well, I would also imagine that the security offices probably has, granted they didn't have tons of security, but they had some security, and those security probably had weapons. And they probably also had close, security cameras over throughout the stadium. So how far are we from the security station? Alvin actually looks over at the security guy and asks him.
Probably depending where we take. If we take through the hallways, it'll probably take us 4 or 5, maybe 6 hallways. But if we go through the outfield field and go the other way, probably 3 hallways after that.
Yeah, we don't know what's in between here and there.
That is true, but we gotta take a chance unless we want to stay here.
What do you think? Try to make a break for the security office, at least to possibly get more weapons? I mean, you do have more weapons in there. Some weapons?
Well, Carlos would be like, well, I don't have the key for that room. My commanding officer did, and he's the one who got bit in the bathroom. And Jesus doesn't have the keys either, not for that room.
Well, how strong is the door? Can we bust it down?
Definitely not. There's guns in there.
Well, anyone here with any criminal inclinations feel like picking a lock?
I think I watched a YouTube video on how to do that one time. That'll probably get us most of the way there.
You're honestly not wrong.
Well, if you want to give it a shot, give it a shot. We'll fight our way over there. I'd rather go to the dugout and get baseball bats first, because I'm really not keen on fighting my way to the security office with these baseballs. But
Well, if we run across the field, we can duck in there real quick. So,
Well, the dugout's just on the other end of the hallway, isn't it? You can just go
Essentially,
through-
so yeah, there's on the side of the baseball field, there's 2 dugouts, one for each team. And at the back of the dugouts is a door that leads to a hallway where they can go straight to and from their locker room. You guys are between the dugout door and the locker room door right now. So yeah, the dugout is literally just on the other side of one of the doors that you're behind.
I got a quick question. Can we, like, trade items?
Yes, absolutely. You guys are feel free to pass them back and forth if you wish.
Okay. Well, Jesus would take his trash can and give it to Carlos because obviously Carlos stronger, and he would take the baseballs and then he would look at Terry and give him 2 baseballs so that way he has 2 and he has 2 in case anything happens. You know, you never know.
Yeah, and I think that Joey would swap out the beer cans with Alvin because Alvin has used a weapon before. Joey, not so much.
Excellent. And yeah, the candy cane pole will cotton candy pole will it'll give him quite a bit of reach. It'll if he decides to use it as such, it would probably be pretty decent at keeping things somewhat back as long as there's not enough space to go around it.
So Alvin says, how big are Carlos and Jesus?
Well, Carlos is about 6'2". He's pretty muscular. But Jesus is like 5'9" and slanky as hell. He's really skinny.
Okay, so Carlos and what about Kate? How big is Kate's brother?
Well, Kate works out for sure. I mean, she's not like super muscly,
Okay.
but she definitely works out. But Kai, he's got good legs from hiking, but he doesn't work out besides hiking.
So he might be a good runner.
Oh yeah, he is a very fast runner, but he's not upper body strong.
All right, so
I mean, I guess a little bit though, because he does also do rock climbing, but he's not super strong.
So what I'm thinking is then Kate, Alvin, and trying to keep all these names straight. I know who you guys are. Not Jesus. Help me. We'll create a line so that we can bring up the rear so that and possibly have Kai lead the way since he has good legs. Terry as well should probably do that. He looks pretty speedy. We'll get our way to the dugout so we can get ourselves some bats. Carlos, what do you think?
I think it sounds good. And then Jesus would be like, can somebody give me a hand so that way Carlos and Alvin can stand by the door and we can swing it open real quick, and if anything comes out, they can swing at it.
Yeah, Terry will kind of lift up the stanchion that he stole, and kind of like hold it up by like the top end, so like the pedestal part is facing towards the door. So it kind of just creates like at least a round, almost like shield on a pole that he can try to stave something off with if he has to.
Yeah, and with the cotton candy pole, you can at least shove, turn it sideways and try to push them back midsection so they don't. All right, so we'll get up next to the door and say, okay.
All right, Jesus is gonna start counting to 3, so he would be like 1, 2, 3, and just opens the doors.
When you open the door, immediately a corpse comes flying into the room, into the hallway. And it takes you just a second to realize that this is not one of the reanimated corpses. This is just a plain old corpse that apparently had died pressed up against the door and just collapses into the front area that you're kind of standing waiting to rush out of this hallway. Stepping out of the door, you find yourself in the away team's dugout.
Does the man have a belt?
Sure.
I take the belt. Belts can be useful.
All right.
Kate takes the belt specifically.
Yeah, it's a kind of a woven leather belt.
That's even better.
You, in the dugout here, it looks like there have been some people that have been helping themselves to some of the equipment that is in here, but you do manage to find an additional three bats. And whoever it is that kind of steps into this dugout, looking across the field, you can see the other team's dugout where their equipment is kind of on the wall back behind the fence of the dugout. And it looks like there's quite a few other baseball bats that are still present there. But on the field, you can see at least a half dozen of these corpses, these reanimated bodies, milling about here and there. And as of yet, it doesn't look like they've seen you.
Can I do something? Jesus would like to take one of his. Actually, he would turn around and look at Alvin and be like, "Do you mind giving me one of those beers, please?"
No, that's fine.
For what? I mean, don't piss them off. I'd rather just bug out. I don't want to be here. I don't want to kill these things.
He would shake it up and aim and throw it at the bleachers behind them, so that way it hits the ground and explodes.
Okay, so in order to try to hit the bleachers behind the dugout, you'll have to come out of the dugout or at least lean out and to throw it up and behind.
We should probably prepare to run right before he does that so that we're...
Yeah, he would probably turn around and be like, "You guys, like, get a little bit ahead of me in case shit hits the wall. Well, hit the fan."
We should figure out what we're going to do with these bats first.
Yeah. Kate definitely wants to grab a bat since she's got a fistful of baseballs and that's about it. So, unless anyone protests, she's grabbing one.
Todd at one point was a star hitter, so maybe with a sparkle in his eye, he reaches for one.
And at least one unclaimed as of yet.
Carlos would look at Alvin and he would be like, "Do you want it or should I take it?"
He nods to you. Go ahead.
All right, he takes the bat and then he gives Alvin his big trash can.
Was Alvin sticking with the cotton candy pole or the trash can?
I think that the cotton candy pole is probably more useful at the moment because we can push things off with it. It has reach. So,
Is there any way we can also bring the trash can, though?
You got a belt. You could loop it through one of the loops and then hang it over your back or something.
Yeah, that might work. I mean, this is like a trash can, right? Like big?
Yeah, like if you've never been to a stadium, like a movie theater style trash can. You know, it's a sizable, plasticky.
Oh, it's
composite.
plasticky?
Mm-hmm.
But someone could like fit in the trash can, right?
Yeah, especially somebody that was lithe.
Yeah, I definitely want to take this for reasons. How cumbersome is it? Because I legit have never been to a baseball stadium or a football stadium.
Right, but you've been to a movie theater, yes?
I've been to a movie theater, and I feel like I could carry one of those.
You certainly could, but it would definitely be cumbersome, especially on a person that was not sizable.
Right.
You could certainly affix it to your back with the belt that you just found.
Well, that's what I'm going to do then. I'm going to fix it to my back, because we could also just put shit in it as storage for now, too.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not going to give it to Kai so Kai can still run, but, it'll work for now.
One of the creatures that is kind of meandering around in left field has taken notice of some of the discussion between you and the passing back and forth of these items. And you kind of hear, because it's some distance out, I would say maybe 30 feet, 40 feet away, you kind of hear this, and it starts making its way towards where you're all standing.
And Alvin at that point says, "Where a go? You got the beer?"
Yeah, and he would hand his keys to Joey, and he'd be like, here's the key for the garage to get out of here. And he would hand it to him, and he'd be like, you guys go. And he's getting ready to toss the beer to the bleachers.
All right, and at that point we start sprinting toward the other dugout, right? We were going there and then to the security office.
That's what it sounded like.
All right, so same thing. We start sprinting across the field.
Okay, so you start just running as fast as you can, kind of cutting the smallest angle that you can across the field as Carlos shakes this beer up, turns, and hurls it as hard as he can. Carlos, if you would please go ahead and give me a force roll. Oh, it's Jesus that's doing it. I'm sorry. So go ahead and give me a force roll. And Jesus was the what is his style and role?
He's a sneaky scout.
Okay, so this is definitely kind of trying to be sneaky. So I would say you would qualify for a second dice. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to be rolling 2d10. And what is your force, your grace force number?
In that section, I believe is 5. Let me check real quick.
Okay.
Wait, never mind, wrong one. In my grace and force, I have 2 grace.
Okay, so this is going to be tough for Jesus. So what you need whenever you roll those 2d10 is you need to get 2 or lower.
Shit. All right. Holy shit. I got a 1 and a 2.
Fantastic.
What happened?
Excellent. Okay, so that is 2 successes. And furthermore, because you have a 2, you also rolled your number. So because you got 2 successes, that means you do it, and you do it well. In addition, because you rolled your number exactly, you've earned yourself your first narrow escape point. So you want to record that somewhere. At any point, if you are asked to roll your health die, you can cash in a narrow escape point instead, and you can narratively describe how you barely dodged certain death instead of having to make the roll.
Gotcha. Can I describe what happened with the beer can?
Yes, please.
So he shakes it up, and he's leaning back, and he steps forward 1, 2, and then he tosses it, and it goes over, and then it hits like an exit sign, and all of a sudden it splatters everywhere. You see the zombies like, and they turn around and they start heading that way because they heard the explosion.
Absolutely. Yeah, it hits the sign, and just the can or bottle just goes everywhere with the small amount of pressure that's stored up inside of it from you shaking it. And the one thing that Jesus saw whenever he turned and threw this was there was probably at least, just in his field of vision on that side of the stadium, he spotted probably at least 300 to 400 of these creatures. And they have, for the time being, turned in the direction of that noise and are starting to stumble over seats, run up the concrete stairs that divide the different aisles, and make all kinds of racket, which is starting to have like a rippling effect throughout the stadium seating. The rest of you,
he would start like bolting ass the way they want, because he knows where they're going, so trying to catch up.
Absolutely. Okay, the rest of you are running across the field towards this dugout. So there's at least 2 of these zombies that are in your path before you're able to reach the other team's dugout. So who amongst you is going to attempt to deal with them, or are you just going to try to go around them or avoid them entirely?
Yeah, Terry's just gonna dead set sprint for the other dugout, just trying to avoid anything. He's not very strong, so avoiding is probably the better option.
If only Todd were so wise. With the light, are the lights still on? Like, is the stadium still like, for the most part?
Yes, it's still fully lit.
Right. So he's still in his his uniform. He's got a bat in his hand. He's basically in slow motion. He is an early 2000s movie. And he goes up for the swing to just kind of like do his thing, what he was supposed to do this whole time, and just hasn't been able to do. All his frustrations are coming out in this just mighty swing.
So it definitely sounds like this is probably a forceful attack. And what is his style and role?
He is a determined scout. I figured I would kind of more adopt into my role as we started playing. So.
Sure, absolutely. Well, since you established already that he was a baseball player and a star hitter, I would definitely say that this makes you an expert, though the target is a little different. So you'll definitely qualify for 2 dice. Prepared, I don't think you really qualify for prepared yet. This is probably the first human that you've intentionally struck with a baseball bat. Maybe not.
No, I know you're probably right. And I think maybe like I said, the lights are in his eyes. He's the adrenaline combined with the stress of he probably was in a fight with his his agent or whatever before all this happened. It's been a stressful evening. He was fighting with Jen. Now he's got to look after her, and she never needed him, and he's just that's too much. But he goes for the swing, and it kind of dawns on him as he hits. So he got a 4 and a 5, and my score is a 7. So 2 successes.
2 successes. You did it, and you did it well. So, yeah, what does it look like as you take this one down?
The shock comes too as he's splattered with blood. As this guy was a relatively fresh zombie, so he hadn't lost a lot of blood. Maybe he was one of the people that just got picked over. So it's one of the more graphic, just head explosions that really don't exist.
It's probably a lot more intense, a lot more visceral than you may have even expected it to be.
Yeah, like overwhelming amounts of like brain fragment and gore, like Drenched Todd, like Evil Dead. Like I'm now completely red for no reason.
Yes. And there's still one more to contend with between the first and second dugout. Who is planning on doing something about that?
So I would imagine that Joey just makes a break for it, similar to Terry. He's not in the mood to fight these undead things, but Alvin he's seeing combat. He's runs toward danger, not away. So seeing Todd step up there and do that, the other one is actually just about to bite him, and he knows this pole is made of fiberglass, so it's not going to take a full swing more than once or maybe twice. So he takes it and just kind of stabs at the thing in the eye, or at least tries to, thrust the thing. So that would be probably force.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Definitely not being subtle. He's trying to control the situation because the thing is about to bite Todd. And maybe a little flare. He's not being subtle.
Yeah. I would say either force or control.
Okay.
specifically because you're kind of talking about trying to aim for a very specific kind of smaller target. So either one should work just fine.
Okay. They're the same score, so let's see. So was that 2 dice or 1?
Since you've gone into the fact that he is a veteran, I would say that he's definitely as much of an expert as you could be in this kind of thing. So yeah, I'm fine with 2 dice.
All right. So he got a 6 and a 1. His score is a 7.
You got a 2 and a 1 on a 7?
A 6 and a 1, and the score is a 7 on the...
Excellent. Okay. So yeah, go ahead and describe it to me. That's 2 successes.
All right. So he steps up and he just kind of pushes the thing off, but as it connects, it literally sinks into the eye socket and just, breaks through the and then he can feel it kind of hit more pressure, but he just keeps pushing as the thing is falling over, and he just continues running with it and just lifts it up and just keeps running along with it as he nods over at Todd and kind of says, "Come on. That won't be the first or the last. We got to keep moving."
And Todd's wiping the blood from his eyes and woo! It takes off with you.
Okay. The immediate threat seems to kind of have been dealt with, though the attention from a few of the ones on the field has definitely been drawn in your direction, and they are starting to make their way towards you. Some of them lumbering, the ones that are further away. The ones that are closer are definitely kind of breaking into a clumsy sprint. But in addition, there's one other thing that might be a little disconcerting. Over the PA system of the stadium, you hear a voice. "What do we have here? Oh, look, there is people running across the field. Oh, no. I don't think that this is going to end well. It looks like there are some of our friends who have seen these people running across the field. These should be very interesting. Play ball." You've reached the other dugout. You all kind of run down the stairs that lead to kind of the half down level, where the field is now about chest height for most of you. And you're surrounded by concrete, mostly, and a long bench runs along the back wall, and on both sides there are cubbies where there's batting gloves, batting helmets, braces, and arm guards. And finally, on one side, there is a series of bats. There are enough in here that each one of you could take 2 if you so wish. However, they are a little difficult to carry on their own unless you have a means of doing so.
Like a trash can strapped to your back?
Potentially like a trash can strapped to your back, yes.
Well, the zombies, how many zombies are coming towards us, and how many of them are fast?
Well, it looks like there's at least 4 of them that are currently moving quickly in your direction. There are others, but they're not moving as fast as of yet.
Kate is going to just grab some of the bats and shove them into her trash can. She's going to say, "All right, you guys, apparently you're good at smashing in zombies. We need to make sure they don't get over to us." And she's going to heft her bat and walk out there. Because, I mean, at this point she realizes they're not going to run away from them. They have to kill them. And Kai steps forward and she pushes him back.
Carlos would nod and start walking out there, swinging his bat, ready to hit something.
Just to clarify, just like the dugout that you came from, there is also a door in the back of this dugout that you would know likewise leads to a whole nother set of showers and locker room and the rest of the bowels of this place.
Well, I did not know that actually. Kate then does not want to fight them. She wants to run away.
Is it locked?
Todd would probably point at like the catcher's gear.
Yeah, there's definitely a set of catcher's gear there in the dugout.
He maybe even tries to like suit Jen up in it, but Jen's not having it. She's not trying to be held down by this bulky equipment.
Well, if Jen doesn't want to wear it, Kate will wear it.
Okay. As you're kind of sorting this out, the front two of these sprinting zombies are closing behind Jesus as he's just now passing first base and running as fast as he can, trying to get to your side where the dugout is. Jesus, you have two choices. They're going to beat you to the staircase leading into the dugout. So you either are going to have to go through these two, or you're going to have to go over the fence that leads into the dugout, which is a bit of a drop.
Can I throw a baseball at one of their heads and try and at least take one of them out?
Or potentially. But as is this as Jen? Because she's currently suiting into catcher's gear.
I'm not Jen. I have Kate.
I'm sorry, Kate.
And she just said she would. She isn't yet. I actually already said she's walking out onto the field.
Gotcha. Well, Jesus, which of your choices will it be?
What was the first choice?
Trying to go through two of them to get to the stairs that lead down, or going over the wall? Okay. All right, so it sounds like Jesus is running to the fence to kind of vault over down into the dugout. And it sounds like Kate is headed out onto the field to engage with these two zombies that are approaching the staircase. Is there anyone else that wants to do something?
Alvin would go up and support her with the pole. You know, she's probably got a better aim maybe at throwing. So just in case they get close enough, he's going to, you know, fend them off with just to help.
Yeah, Carlos would head out there too. Make sure that, you know, nobody gets bit.
Does Carlos have the keys to that door?
He gave the keys to Joey.
Okay, so Joey, then Alvin points at the door and says, "Get the door, the keys," as he starts stepping out onto the field to...
All right. So, Jesus, what I would like from you first is, however it is that you're attempting to get over this fence, kind of describe to me how you see him going about this.
So he would be running, and then all of a sudden he would just start sprinting, so that way when he gets close enough, he can try to leap to get, you know, a little higher, so that way they don't bite his legs.
Okay, so it sounds like he's definitely going to be trying to go with speed. So if you would go ahead and give me a speed roll. And his style and roll are what again? If you would remind me.
Speed and A2.
One more time, sorry.
His style is Sneaky Scout, and he has 2 speed.
Okay, excellent. So, yeah, I would definitely say that you are prepared in this situation. Well, you're an expert in this situation. So, yeah, it's going to be 2 dice again. So roll 2d10, and you're looking to beat a 2.
I got a 3 and a 2.
Okay, so you got your number again, so that means you earned yourself another narrow escape point. And you got 2 successes, so that means you did it, and you did it well. So you run and you jump and vault over this thing. Just with your pure speed, you manage to kind of pull away and get up and over this fence, down into the dugout. You kind of land almost like a 3-point superhero landing, if you will, on the concrete in the bottom of this dugout. It's not exactly the cleanest place, but you are safe as the other two zombies are beginning to kind of close with the staircase now. So, Kate, you are throwing a baseball, or are you stepping up with a bat?
No, she's gonna throw a baseball because they're far enough away that she can throw first.
Excellent. Okay, so would this be a controlled throw? You would think.
I mean, she's definitely throwing it with a lot of force.
Okay, excellent. And you've gone to pretty good lengths of describing her as being athletic. So I would definitely say that she could have a second die as being an expert in this situation. So go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. She's athletic. Yeah. Well, I got a 8 and a 4, and my force is an 8. I'm supposed to roll under it, right?
Yes, for force you are.
Okay, good.
So that is 2 successes. So you've done it, and you've done it well. In addition, you also rolled your number. So you also earned yourself a narrow escape point. Make sure to document that.
What do those do?
Anytime that I ask you to roll your health die, if you are essentially hit, put in danger, you can cash one of those in and then describe how you narrowly escaped the danger instead of having it to roll.
Are they shared between my 2 characters, or is this Kate's?
That's up to you.
Okay, I'm just gonna share them then. Great, cool. I need to roll my usage die to see if I run out of baseballs, right?
Yes, please do.
And a 1 is bad, right?
It is, yes. A 1 or a 2 is always bad on those dice.
Well,
So
I don't have any more baseballs. That was my last one. I only had 1 baseball this whole time.
One. So you throw it, and it beams this guy in the head, or girl in the head, and it caves in the front of their forehead, and their head kind of whips back as their feet go out from underneath of them, and they collapse into the dirt. That's right between the dugout and first base. The second one runs right past the one that just fell without any kind of sign of even registering that just happened. So it's going to start getting to the point where it's going to close with Kate. However, Alvin, you've got the chance to possibly keep that from happening. How are you going to do so?
So it's getting within range for me to spike it again?
Yes, this is the first time that it would be, this one would be in range. Like I said, it's basically running straight at Kate. So you get the chance of trying to stop it.
Yeah, and basically I step up in front of her and just prepare to try to do an uppercut and try to catch the thing underneath its jaw. That's a 2 and a 4 using force again, so that's well below the 7 score. So I pick this thing up, kind of hoist its head up, and I would imagine it snaps back, and you hear this crackle and crunch as it basically wrenches off and then kind of comes off on the pole as the body falls down and sort of stumbles to a skidding halt.
Yeah, exactly. The head kind of comes to an abrupt stop on the end of this pole, where some of these spikes that would hold the bags of cotton candy stick out perpendicular to the pole itself. So the head stops right there, and the body continues to try to run forward several more paces and finds that it can't. And then eventually, at the neck, just rends itself free in a very sickening noise and visual. And yeah, you have a head kind of on the end of your pole currently. Okay. So, how is Joey doing with the door?
Joey is fumbling with the keys. He's kind of sweaty palmed at this point. But he is, like I said, he appears graceful even, and he's somewhat speedy. So I would imagine that he's trying to use speed to try the different keys on the doors.
Yeah, I kind of picture this being like a hefty keyring that's got, you know, a dozen or so keys at least on it. So yeah, that makes great sense.
And so this will be one roll. And he got a 6, so that is above speed. His speed is 4, so.
Excellent. Okay. So he got 1 success, but he barely managed it. So there's a complication or a cost that comes. And that complication is that this key snaps off in the lock. So the door is currently unlocked, and the key has just snapped off inside of it.
All right. So he opens the door and says, all right, come on, come on.
Everybody starts to pile in? Or is there anybody that wishes to not follow?
Carlos will stay like in the back, make sure that everybody gets through like safely.
Todd and Jen aren't heroes. They bolt.
Yeah, Terry will join the pack as well.
Yeah, Alvin's in the back as well, making sure everybody gets in, but Joey doesn't wait too long to follow suit. Which way does the door swing?
We'll say that it swings inward into the hallway.
Okay. And okay, so he takes one of the beer cans and starts drinking it and downs it. And as the last person gets through, he crunches it and shoves it underneath the door and tries to wedge it into underneath the door to sort of block it. And Alvin's looking at him like, what the hell are you doing? He's like, I broke the key. And he just shakes his head as he starts moving on, or he helps him to make sure he pushes it in there. Should we roll a force to see if he can push it in there well enough?
Yeah, let's everybody, if you would, before we make that roll, if everybody would make me a speed roll, please, for each of their characters. And just do these as a single die, if you would.
Is it a D8?
A D10. All of these rolls should be D10s.
Yeah, but in this case, we're rolling one for each character, right? Or just
That is correct, yes.
Okay.
Alrighty, yeah, I got a 3, which is my number.
All right, so you also have earned yourself a narrow escape point.
I got actually some funny rolls. Jen, whose speed's a 9, she got a 10.
Okay,
So
all right.
she managed to successfully, speedily get away. And Todd,
her speed's a 9.
yeah. So she's more on the control end, and she still succeeded, if I'm not mistaken.
Hold on. Okay, so she
Yeah, speed
was
is the
trying
left
to,
side, so
yeah, she was trying to get under. Nope.
over.
You're right,
It's over
yeah.
for speed.
Yep.
Yeah,
correct.
she successfully got 1, and Todd, his speed's a 2, and he got a 1, so he failed.
All right.
Well, my people rolled more expectedly. Kate isn't fast and she failed, and Kai is fast and he succeeded.
So Jesus' speed is a 2 and he got a 10. And Carlos is control 6 and he got a 4.
Yeah, Joey has a speed of 4 and he got a 7. And then Alvin has a speed of, well, he's more control, so he's 7 and he got a 4.
Okay, so those of you who failed, you are the last ones that are able to get in through the door. And as you're doing so, I know, Jose, you said that Carlos is also kind of purposefully standing towards the back, trying to be one of the last ones
Yes.
through. Some of the rest of these ones on the field managed to get to the concrete stairs of the dugout and basically just pour down these stairs with very little regard to their own safety. You hear bones popping, ligaments tearing, and they are smacking into each other, the walls, the ground, but they are scrambling for you just as fast as they can. And they are going to reach the door before everybody is through.
Could Carlo like pull out his taser and wait until they get close enough and try to like, hit him with it?
He can attempt to hit one.
All right. Well, he'll go for whichever is first with it.
Okay.
So there's the 3 are going to get there before we get in?
Sure. 3 sounds like a good number.
Well, because there's 3 fast people. Well, there's 4 fast people and we killed 1.
Yep. That works
Okay.
for me.
Kate is going to try and bash one of their heads in.
Okay. So she's going to stay outside the door as well?
Well, I mean, she's not going to make it in time.
Okay. So she's going to turn around, though, is what I mean.
Yeah, she's going to turn around. I mean, she's not going to let them just bite her on the back.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah, and Alvin the same. I think Alvin didn't make it. He's
All
actually going to take the head off and try to grab it by the hair and roll it towards him.
That's very gross.
Fair enough.
It's
It
that
is.
word that starts with an M that I never remember how to pronounce. Macabre.
Nihilistic?
No, M.
Macabre.
Macabre. It's very macabre.
It is very macabre. Okay, so if I could, Jose, from you, for Carlos, let's see. Stun gun would probably be control. Trying to aim carefully. And I would definitely say, being a security guard, that he is an expert and probably likely prepared as well. So for this roll, you can have 3 dice. For Kate, you are stepping out with your baseball bat.
Yeah, because I ran out of baseballs.
Right. Okay. So likely a force roll.
Yep. Gonna be force, and I mean, she's hit stuff with bats before, but she's definitely not prepared.
Yeah. So I would definitely say 2 dice in this situation. And then Dave, for Alvin, it sounds like it's probably going to be. Oh, this might actually be either a grace or maybe a flare attack. Honestly, kind of bowling with a head. That's pretty flamboyant.
Yeah, I'm going to say flare.
Okay, that works for me. I definitely would say that you're probably neither an expert with bowling with a head, nor are you necessarily prepared. So I think this is probably going to be a single die.
Okay.
Carlos rolled a 6, a 5, and a 10, and he has 6 control.
Okay, so that's 2 successes with an additional narrow escape point. So he succeeds and he does it well. So what does that look like as his taser goes off?
Well, I can see him like trying to aim like the head, but when he hits it, like curves, and it hits him right in the chest. So when he hits it, it like hit his heart, and it just explodes, and you see the chest just, and the zombie just stumbles down, and it's like pretty much fried.
Yeah, absolutely. His corpse is kind of smoking a bit, and where he falls, it actually starts to kind of trip up a couple of them, which definitely opens up the attack for Kate with her bat. What'd you get, Alex?
4 and an 8, and my thing is an 8.
All right, so you've gotten yourself another narrow escape point and 2 successes. So what does that look like?
Well, she's swinging one-handed because she's trying to get ready to pull another bat out of there. She just swings and cracks it in the rib, and it trips over the guts of the other thing and then lands and hits its head on the ground and it smashes open. I don't know why, but zombies, their skulls are just very weak.
Yeah, it's kind of like that quote from Dusk Till Dawn, where he's describing killing these things. They're squishy. They're just not as hard as they should be, like a normal human. So yeah, like a melon, it just explodes all over the dugout floor. Okay, and Alvin, how did he do?
Alvin has a flare of 7, and he rolled a 6.
Excellent. Okay. So he succeeds with a complication or cost. So he rolls this head, and it tumbles forward, and it collides into the couple of front runners that were already having some difficulty standing on this now very slick and very quickly congested dugout. And it absolutely succeeds in taking down the last one, who loses his footing and comes down. But as he does so, he reaches his claws out, his claw-like hands, and is going to attempt to grab a hold of Alvin. Alvin, if you would please tell me how you're going to attempt to escape this.
So he was still holding the cotton candy pole in his left hand as he rolled this head, and he sees that it wasn't as good as he had expected, and so he kind of takes the pole and goes to strike the arm out of the way to block it out of the way.
Okay. So because of the situation, I would say that this is probably going to be a 1-die roll, and it sounds like perhaps that it's force.
Or control. He's trying to control the situation.
Control. Yeah, that works too.
So he got a 10. His control is 8. So that's a failure, right?
So yes, so he failed. And we've got a 7 and a 6 from the zombie, and their force is an 8. So that's 2 successes from them, which means that's 2 shifts of damage that are coming at Alvin. So what I need you to do, Alvin, is roll a d4 twice, if you would please, and let me know if you get a 1 or a 2 on either roll.
I got a 1 on the first roll.
Okay. So what does it look like as this desperate lunge by this creature, sticking its claw-like hands out, ends the life of Alvin?
So I would imagine that Alvin was kind of caught off, and he missed the hand as it came forward, and it grabbed his shirt and drug him in and basically just chomped into his throat. And he looked over at Kate and he said, "Fuck, what a way to go out." And he just takes the, because at this point he grabs the head and he knows he's going down. So he just embraces the thing and rides it down and just starts smashing the head, if you'll allow it. He's smashing the head into and he's like, "Go." And I would think that he knows he's bleeding out at this point, so he picks up a bat and his pole, and he just starts walking out toward the rest of them that are waiting. He's kind of staggering and stumbling, but that's what he thinks. In his mind, that's what he would do, because he fights until the end. So
Absolutely. So as Alvin has resigned himself and finished the third of these zombies that had managed to reach the dugout already, He steps out onto the field, a weapon in each hand. As we kind of pan back away from him and get to a wider shot and notice a large crowd of 40 or 50 of these things that have fallen over various points of the field fence and the outfield wall and are converging as quickly as they can manage towards Alvin. And as the rest of you manage to kind of get into the door that was opened by Joey, Carlos being one of the last, Kate alongside of him, you hear the voice once again. It looks like we have out number one. Stay tuned because I am sure there will be more. Oh, this is a lot of fun.
Alvin just yells at him, "Come on, you son of a bitches! Come get some!"
On her way
Go
in,
ahead.
Kate's gonna grab that umpire shit.
Yeah, she grabbed the gear that would normally outfit a catcher, mask, kind of chest plate, shin guards, manages to shove them in the trash can on her back, get in through the dugout door, and slam it shut. If you guys would, just for a moment, kind of tell me how this recent turn of events is affecting your group.
I feel like I haven't spoken in a while. Todd is like eerily excited. He has a like smirk almost on his face, and Jen's kind of creeped out by it. Killing that zombie did not exactly deal well with his mental status of the time. So he's kind of, like, hey, I'm going to thrive in the zombie apocalypse. And Jen's like, oh my God, he's psychotic. I feel like Jen's taking a more realistic approach to this scenario. Maybe it hasn't hit her as much.
Yeah, I think maybe Jen has looked down and noticed that maybe some of the blood that was on Todd from his kill, even though she hasn't made a kill yet, some of this blood has rubbed off on her from having to funnel into this narrow hallway. And maybe that's
maybe
kind of
she like looks at her hands and sees that they're, like trembling with the adrenaline. And it's like the first time she's looked at her hands since all this has happened. And like, yeah, something like that.
perfect. Anyone else?
Carlos would be like, fuck, what the hell's going on, man? What the fuck? And he would like punch the wall with the bottom of his fist like a few times. And his sis would be like, calm down. This ain't gonna help us. We gotta get out of here. You saw what happened out there. If we don't hurry up and leave, that's gonna happen to us.
Joey is leaning on the door and he's holding his head in his hands. And he's starting to, his hands are starting to shake. And he looks up at everyone and he says, he became a grandfather a week ago. He gave me my first job out of college. Wow. And he's just looking at him and he's shaking and he's like, this is fucked up. I don't know what I'm going to tell Sarah, his wife. Like I could have stopped it somehow.
Kai is trembling. He's feeling useless because he hasn't done anything but run so far. And he's gonna try and go over and like give Joey a hug, you know, like a hey man, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be alright. Come on, man. And he's gonna try and charm him into feeling better. And Kate's just super pragmatic, like she's upset mostly because they lost someone who's a really good fighter and their chance of surviving went down without him. She's probably a sociopath. I don't know.
Her and Todd.
Her and Todd. So yeah, if you don't mind, I'm gonna actually roll to see if Kai can talk you down. And he's definitely an expert at this, but I wouldn't say he's prepared.
Yeah, I'd say so.
So my charm is a 2. He's hella charming. He's not scary at all. I got a 4 and an 8, so hella charming.
Excellent. So, yeah, Dave, how do the words of Todd kind of help soothe Joey at least enough so that he can get through the moment?
What's he saying to him? What's Kai saying to him?
Kai's like, hey, you know, man, like he had a good life. You know, he worked hard. He's accomplished so much, and because of him, we're gonna be all right. We're gonna make through this. You know, he died with honor, like a good soldier is happy to do. He's a good guy, and we can't just let this wear us down. Like we got to keep going. I'm pretty sure. What'd you say his wife's name was? Sarah? Yeah,
Sarah.
Sarah's gonna be proud to hear that he died like that and not in some pitiful way. He died a hero. He's a goddamn hero.
He kind of nervously laughs, just like I just did, and yeah, I guess you're right. And I guess you came up and gave him a bro hug or whatever.
Yeah, bro hug. He's a very good bro.
He takes the hug and yeah, you're right. And he kind of wipes his eyes and he's just like, yeah, I need to buck up. Let's do this.
Hey man, no shame in crying. It's all right. It's a fucked up scenario.
And he starts working on jamming the door like he was, trying to keep his mind off of it.
Yeah, and he's absolutely able to do so. And it's nice that he's done this because there is some difficulty in getting the door to lock now that the key is broken off inside of the one side. And before long, there is pounding and the sound of scraping fingers and nails on the outside of this steel door. And muffled though it is, there is definitely the noise of the undead on the other side. So now that you have found yourself in essentially a mirrored hallway, symmetrical pretty much in every way to the one that you had left before, what's the plan now?
Well, we need to get the fuck out of here. Like, we gotta find somewhere more secure. Like, this isn't a terrible place to be, but, you know, we're gonna run out of food.
Were we heading to the garage or the security room?
Well, we're gonna go head up to the security room. Try and get some actual weapons. So, let's try and do that still, I guess.
All right, and as you say that, Carlos would be like, "All right, guys, let's go," and he would get in front because since Alvin's not there anymore. It's just him, like guarding you guys.
All right. So you turn and head deeper into the the tunnels that form kind of the unseen places of the stadium. The players would have view down here. The coaches and umpires would have seen all of this. The reporters, but maintenance perhaps. But other than that, this is a view that most of the fans don't ever really get to see. It's very sparsely decorated. Again, mostly just cinder block walls, concrete floors, fluorescent lighting. And the hallway extends on for some ways with these steel doors that kind of pepper both sides of it occasionally. You know, one of the doors that you happen to pass has kind of a metal grating in the bottom, and there's just a enormous amount of thrumming that is coming through the other side of this door. And as you pass by, you can actually feel the air current that is being sucked in through that grating. And your guess is that that's probably where the air handlers are. So you head on.
Hairs? The what? That's where the what are?
Air handlers. The large, like, they suck air in so that they can air condition it.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
So you know that you're going to be passing several things. Either Jesus or Carlos, probably. Either one of them could probably tell you, actually, or even Todd would be able to tell you some of these rooms as you're passing them. One of them being the locker room, which is a decently sized, well-equipped lounge. You know, there's also showers, things of that nature. There's several different equipment rooms that you're going to pass. You'll probably also pass, you know, like a press junket room. All kinds of things of this nature that are about the business of baseball. Is there any interest in trying to stop at one of these rooms? Or do you guys wish to just keep pressing on?
I mean, I feel like we should just book it to where we're going. Like, we don't want to run across more zombies, right? Then again, could there be good stuff in those other rooms? The RPG player in me says we have to explore every room. The practical person in me says run.
I think if we made it this far, we might as well go for the security room, because if we can get Terry to open it, you know, we can get some weapons instead of running around and try to scavenge and being a chance that we're gonna get, you know, screwed.
Yeah, Joey's not really thinking at this point. He's just moving. There's a certain volition that keeps him moving forward, trying to just focus on the task, which he thinks is just moving forward.
So with the group consensus being to press on and make it to the security rooms, you arrive at a staircase. You know you're going to have to go up a flight, a different level, in order to get to where the security room is, as Carlos has informed you. You open the staircase doorway, and immediately you hear the sounds of these creatures kind of gurgle, growl, if you will. Again, kind of this. But for the moment, at least, it sounds pretty docile, calm. And as of right now, even though there is a lot of blood that you can see in this staircase, maybe even a couple of pieces of various body parts, you don't see any of these creatures at the moment. Oh, and just for the hell of it, the lights in this staircase are not working.
That's the correct level of creepy I want.
I think Jesus, since he's worked here for a while and he kind of knows the layout, he would say to the guys, "Look, this might be really stupid, but I'm gonna take a look up there," and he would like put his back against the wall and slowly start like going up.
You shouldn't go by yourself. It's not safe. Someone else should at least go with him.
Todd.
And then
dangerous to
Terry
go alone.
begins
Take
looking
this.
at everybody else in the group.
Todd would probably be like, I will go. No, I'm just kidding. He probably would be kind of like still on this like adrenaline hype. Actually, I mean, he's probably been with as much adrenaline as you can have for this kind of situation for the last couple hours. So maybe he's entering like that just groggy, stressed stage where he's basically dehumanizing himself. So he would go with you. Probably the last person you'd want to, but he would go with you.
Right. So he would be like, "Okay, follow me," and he would just keep going back to try to get a peek at the corner in the top.
Okay. So Carlos would know that this staircase serves more than just these 2 floors. It goes up several flights. The one that you're on currently being the lowest. And as I said, the lights in the staircase do not seem to be working. And you know that if the staircase that you have just passed through at the bottom level closes, that it'll be pitch black in here. So would you like for them to keep it open so that you have a little bit of light? Or
Yes,
would you like to
please.
try to find a source of light to take with you?
Keep it open.
And who has that job?
I don't know, because Carlos would be like watching out for the group, so.
Sounds like there are no volunteers to keep the door open.
Well, I guess dark it is then.
Sounds like it. So, Carlos and Todd, you make your way into the staircase, backs pressed against the wall, and someone lets the door close, quietly, I presume. And it kind of has that kind of finite noise of the latch going home. And when it does so, with an audible, you're plunged into total darkness. You begin slowly making your way up the staircase. I think each one of you has a bat in hand, if that's not incorrect.
I would imagine we did, since we found like a bunch in the dugout.
What did you say, Baron?
Jen does not.
She does not have a bat. Okay.
No, she does not.
Terry
What you
still
got,
has
Jeff?
his stanchion. He did not switch it out for a bat, and I don't imagine him having a
Okay.
way to carry a bat and that at the same time.
Jen
Probably
can
not.
have a bat if she wants. I've got a bunch of bats.
Nah, she isn't much for swinging bats.
Better to have one and not use it.
Okay. So, Carlos and Todd are slinking their way up these stairs in the dark. If both of you would, please. Oh, it's Jesus, not Carlos? Okay. Jesus and Todd are slinking their way up the staircase. If both of you would, please, roll me a subtle. You can have 2 dice, and if you have a style or roll that you think supports this, then you might be able to qualify as an expert and get a 3rd dice.
Do I get extra dice since I know the layout, or not really?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I would say that you could qualify for like a situational die.
Alright, so how many die?
What is your style and role for Jesus?
He's a sneaky scout.
Okay. So this sounds like his area of expertise. So he will qualify in this case for 4 dice.
Todd is a determined scout.
Okay.
But like I said, he's not really the scouty type, so maybe a familiarity with the layout more so
sure.
in my area of expertise.
Yeah, I would definitely say at least 2 dice, if not 3.
I'm gonna roll 2 just because I'm not very subtle.
All right, my subtle is 5, and I got a 10, a 8, a 6, and a 4.
I got 1 success, 1 failure.
Okay. So you succeeded with a complication. And Jose, you said what were your scores again?
My subtle is 5, and I rolled a 10, an 8, a 6, and a 4.
Okay, so that's still 3 successes. So not only have you succeeded, Jesus, but you have actually critical succeeded. Critical success. So
Critical successified.
you have critically successification. And you have an extra effect that comes from that I am to determine. So tell me, if you would, how do you keep Todd from causing this to almost go wrong?
I would like stop for a second, and I could tell that he's having problems like maneuvering. So I'd be like, "Look, hold on to like my belt, like the side of my pants, and just follow me." So that way that I'm guiding him as I'm going.
Yeah, and apparently just you have some experience sneaking around in dark places, apparently. And and you managed to kind of pick your way carefully among some of the slicker spots of blood or the pieces that are kind of scattered about. And you managed to also kind of keep Todd from stepping on one of them and tripping. So the two of you sneak up the staircase up to the level that you're going to be needing, and you can tell by the noise kind of echoing around inside of here that you have not come across whatever creature is making this noise, but it sounds close. It sounds like it might be further up the stairs than the platform that you've come to that has the door where you need to get through. So it sounds like the two of you have made it to this platform successfully. What would you like to do?
Is it a door or is it like a hallway?
There's a door.
Shit. Could I like try to push the door open a little bit and take one of my baseballs and like throw it down the hall?
Potentially.
I think Todd would not even pay attention to the door once the light kind of starts to shine through and is looking at the staircase for whatever is up there.
Okay. So, Jose, if you would please go ahead and roll me another subtlety roll. This is effectively going to dictate how opening the door goes. And
I got a 6, and my subtle is 5.
okay. So, you manage to open this door very, very quietly. Again, you've been around this place. You kind of know how these doors operate. So you're able to kind of compress that little, horizontal press bar that releases the latch of the door and kind of push it open. And you ready a baseball to throw down the hallway. And as the light kind of starts to pour back into this secluded staircase, Todd, you notice that on the flight of stairs that leads from the platform where you're at to the platform of the floor above you, somebody has rigged up a bunch of broken broom handles, things of that nature, and kind of worked it in between the stairs and a couple of bodies that are stacked about halfway up the staircase and the railing into kind of this jagged, like palisade almost, this kind of just series of pikes, if you will. And the noise that you're hearing is one of these zombies that has impaled himself on this impromptu barrier. And he's just kind of, jacked up on several of these spikes. And as the light starts to pour in, you realize that you're probably a lot closer than you might have thought, as in like 5 feet or so away from this creature. And immediately it starts to try to pull itself off of these poles, these broken shards, to come after you.
Todd's basically just gonna batter up.
Okay. So we've got Jesus with the distraction of throwing a baseball down the hallway to try to clear out or flush out anything that may be down here. So I think that sounds probably like a flare, or yeah, probably a flare, I would say. And from you, Baron, I need for Todd, it sounds like a forceful attack. And again, you're an expert with a bat. And I would say situationally, since this thing is kind of stuck in place, that you can have a third die as well.
You said I'm rolling a flare, or is that him?
3 successes.
You would be rolling the flare for Jesus.
Gotcha. How does that work? Because I got subtle in that section.
Okay, so what is your subtlety score?
5.
A 5. Okay, so what you need to do is try to get beneath a 5.
Okay, I gotcha. I got a 1.
Excellent. Okay. So you hurl this baseball down this concrete and cinder block hallway, and it pop, 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 bounces off several of the surfaces before it kind of comes to a roll and just rolls along until it eventually comes to a stop. Baron, if you would describe how Todd disables this this stuck zombie.
This one, in his mind, is not even the same thing as the last one he killed. He was afraid then. He was, a baseball player then. When he sees this thing, and I'm sure it's like, weakly squirming on these shards. He's cold. He's calculated. He, it's a very well, like a solid technique, but anyone to the trained eye would see that he, maybe is holding it a little higher for a downward swing rather than to hit the ball up.
Absolutely. And in the dim light of this stairwell, with just the light from the open doorway coming in, we see Todd paint the wall with a splash of red behind this zombie. Those of you who are downstairs outside of the metal door, it's been quiet. And I would say probably close to 2 minutes may have elapsed. So what are you doing currently?
Terry is almost just like pacing around as quietly as he can, but he can't help but move. He's trying to guard his breathing, which is becoming heavy with anticipation. And he can just barely manage to stutter the words out in a whisper. Just do we check on them? Are they going to come back? What are we doing?
Well, we wait for them to come back. It hasn't even been 5 minutes yet. Just chill, kid.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, you're right. Chill. Okay, chill. Yeah, okay.
And Kai's gonna come over and like bro with this guy too, cause he's a bro. He's gonna be like, oh hey, so man, what kind of music you like? Yeah, I like that T-shirt, man. What's up?
Okay. So it sounds like the decision is to continue to wait. And not too long after you've made the decision, you hear a strange noise along the ceiling of the hallway behind you. You hear kind of this as something sounds like it's retreating away from the hall, away from the door where you're currently at, a floor above you. And there is a clear, solid noise from inside the stairwell. And then it grows quiet again. And that's where we're going to take our break this evening. So we're going to take a 10-minute break. Go fill your drinks up. Empty your bladders if you need to, if you hadn't done it already. Kiss your spouses, smoke them if you got them. Hang tight, everybody who's watching. Thank you very, very much for tuning in. Happy Halloween. I hope you're having a blast watching us slay some zombies and do it all in the name of baseball. Kind of. So we will be right back. Sit tight, and we will have more Dead End brought to you by the Expedition Engine.
kind of whiffed my intro there. Been out of the game for a minute, but I'm at the RWD Gaming channel. We do tabletop games, Overwatch. We're trying to get into other games, so if you got suggestions, let us know. And check us out if that's something you'd be interested in.
All right, everybody. Give everybody a couple of minutes here to get back before we start this back off again. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Erasmus Expeditions. This is a lot of fun. I enjoy this hobby so much, and it's awesome to be able to do something like put together a game system of a collection of ideas that I enjoy from other other systems, kind of work out the kinks a little bit and throw it out there to some playtesters, people that I've played with before, some that I haven't, and kind of run it through the grinder, as it were. And it's a great way to get feedback. It's a great way to kind of see what works and what doesn't, what needs some fine-tuning. And I'm incredibly appreciative that I have the opportunity to do this. And especially with 5 fantastic players like I'm having the opportunity to play with tonight. So I thank the 5 of you very, very much for agreeing to be a part of this and for subjecting yourselves to my cruel and unusual punishment. Sounds like we have pretty much everybody back. I'm not sure if Jeff is there or not. He may or may not be. Yep, he's here. Cool. So it sounds like we have everybody back. So, without further ado, I suppose we can get back into it. Everybody ready?
1 second. I'll be right back. Feel free to get started.
Sure thing. Okay. So, the noises in the hallway above and in the staircase on the other side of the metal door, where the majority of the group is queued up and waiting, have just transpired. Meanwhile, upstairs, on the floor above, Jesus and Todd have managed to dispatch the one zombie that seemed to be in the staircase, stuck on some broken broom handles and things of that nature. And in addition, have opened the door on the second floor, or the floor above, and Jesus has thrown a baseball down this hallway. Jesus, when you throw this ball, there's kind of a long, palpable silence that follows as the ball kind of rolls slowly to a stop. And then you hear a noise. But the noise might not be exactly what you think. You hear whispering. You hear what you're fairly certain is somebody say, "What was that?"
Jesus would turn around and he would be like, Todd, come here. I hear people. Do me a favor. I'm going to leave this door semi-open so you can see. Please get the rest of the rest of the group. And he would just like quietly try to like hear him while he has the door, a little open.
I think Todd would start off louder than he really intended to, kind of like grunting as he turns around from the swing, and like, oh, okay. And kind of like maybe the first couple steps are heavier than he wants them to be. But he quiets up and he goes around the corner. There's somebody up here. And that's to the party, of course.
And the collection of you at the bottom of this staircase, how do you respond to this news?
There's other people up there? Alright, we need to group up with them. I mean, strength in numbers, right?
I think Jen would probably run up the stairs to Todd, probably loud.
Carlos would probably be like, we need to be careful. We don't know if any of them are like bit or anything, so be careful. And he would start going up.
Yeah, Joey would say, well, it's worth a shot. I mean, there's always strength in numbers, and, well, we're one less now.
So you've all filed into this staircase and have made your way up to the floor above and are kind of stacked up inside the doorway that empties into this hallway, where you know eventually you'll be able to get to the security room. The plan is to attempt to get in touch with these individuals who have whispered. How would you like to go about that? What comes next?
Kai is gonna whisper, but intentionally loud enough to be heard. And he's gonna be more charismatic than I am, and he's gonna be like, "Hey, other survivors, are you guys all right? Like, how you guys doing? Are you guys all right?" Yeah, stage whisper. That's what he's gonna do.
There's a moment of pause, and after a while, a male voice says, "Yeah, we're okay. I mean, considering everything, I guess. But what are you doing? What are you doing here?"
You know, just trying not to get killed by zombies. You guys got weapons? We got some extra bats if you want some.
Yeah, I'll take a bat. And you hear a second voice. "No, what are you doing? We can't trust them." He's like, "It's okay. It's okay. Look, just calm down."
And after that, go ahead.
No, please, go ahead.
Okay. Jesus would be like, look, I work here. I know how to get around. We have a better chance if we get together, unless you guys want to stay in that room and wait for what happens.
And out of a doorway, kind of part way down the hall that the baseball had rolled past, you see a man kind of stick his head out from behind a wall, kind of look down towards the staircase where you were gathered. And Todd, if you're able to see, you recognize that it's one of the players from your team. Ignore the team designation on this individual. I don't think it's appropriate for who's actually playing in the game. I recognize this as a man named Ryan Jones. He's kind of boisterous, a little cocky at times, but He he's a good ball player, and he's a good team player usually. For sake of mechanics, he is a brash soldier.
Is he on from the same team as me?
He is, yes.
All right. So I rolled a d6. Odds I didn't like him, or I'm sorry, odds I liked him. Evens I didn't, and I rolled a 2. So I'm thinking that this is the guy that they brought on the year after me who showed me up.
Oh, there you go.
Well, Kai's gonna be like, "Hey, it's Ryan Jones," and he's gonna try and butter him up by being a fan, even though he's secretly not.
I think Jen would probably turn to Todd like, "Oh no, this isn't cool." Todd grips his bat tighter.
And Joey just looks at him and says, "Who? Ryan Jones?" Not very loudly within the group.
Carlos would be like, "All right, are we gonna approach him or not?"
Kai's gonna walk over, holding a baseball bat by the end that you hit people with, not the end that you hold it onto, and offer it to Ryan Jones.
Whenever he sees that you're kind of offering so openly, he definitely comes out from behind the wall, the kind of inset, and almost kind of jogs towards you a bit. He's still wearing his uniform, cleats, baseball hat, and all. He's got a little bit of blood on him, but not overly. And he kind of has this crooked smile, and he kind of reaches out to take the bat. He's like, "Oh, man, I never thought that I would love to hold one of these in my hand for anything but play in this game, you know? But I'm very, very thankful to have one of these right now."
Yeah, we got a couple. I mean, you good, man? You got your friends in there or something? Like,
Well, yeah. I mean, I didn't know her before, all of this stuff happened, but yeah, it's just me and Maria back here. I mean, we don't really have much. I don't know. I mean, you're welcome to kind of hang out where we're hanging out, but I don't know what we're gonna do.
oh man, we're
How
gonna head over to the security office. We're gonna try and get the stuff that's in there.
so security office like guns and stuff, right?
Yeah, man, I don't fucking know. I hope so. Like, you
Oh,
gotta come
man.
with us, man. Like, a fucking slugger like you, we're gonna be set.
Well, that's probably true. So how many of you are there? How many you got with you?
Well, there's, fuck, I'm not good with numbers, man. There's like, what is it, like 6 of us? Yeah, there's like 6 of us. I don't fucking know. Oh, me, that makes 7. Shit.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
people, man. Yeah, okay.
we're good. That's my sister Kate over there. She's pretty chill. Um, I don't fucking know any of these other guys. Yeah.
All
And
right.
he would like pat you on the back, Carlos, and he'd be like, "Thanks, buddy."
Oh, that's like Jesus over there. And then that guy's Joey. We had another guy with us, Alvin, but man, he didn't make it.
Oh, yeah. I've seen a couple of people that didn't make it too. It's pretty messed up.
Yeah, this fucking sucks, man. Anyways, we gotta like fucking go to the security room, you know?
Oh, right.
Like, you
Right.
guys good?
Yeah.
Like, you hurt or something?
No. This isn't mine. He kind of looks down at the bloody spot on his clothes. So you want us to come with you guys?
Yeah, man, you don't want to be here by yourself. Man, like, strength in numbers, like my sister said. You know, we gotta just get together, and then we'll be fine.
Okay. Like, I mean, that sounds cool to me and stuff, but like, let me Let me talk to Maria and see if that's okay with her. I'm sure it's fine, but
Yeah, hold on, bro. Kate, give me another one of them bats. And Kate gives him a bat. He's like, here, give this to your girl.
oh no, man, she's not my girl. No. Like I said, I just met her. Like, but yeah, I'll give it to her. He
Yeah,
kind of
cool.
jogs back down the hallway, and you hear him kind of whispering with someone inside the doorway, and he kind of is gesturing towards you guys in kind of like a pleading way. And after a moment, a woman kind of sticks her head from around the corner, and you can tell that she's probably been upset recently. She's been crying. It doesn't look like she's wearing a lot of makeup, but it's evident that the makeup she was wearing has kind of smeared a little. And she has taken the bat that you gave Ryan to offer her, but it doesn't look like she's super keen on the idea of either the weapon or going with you. But she comes out into the hallway all the same, and she kind of just nods her head towards most of you. She says, looks like a lot of you made it. That's good.
Oh shit, Maria. Did you come here with your husband?
She kind of gets quiet for a second. Yes. Yeah, I did. And,
Oh man. Look, I understand, like, this is some fucked up shit, but we're not gonna hurt you. I swear to God, we're not gonna hurt you.
her eyes kind of drift over to Todd, who is covered in ichor. She doesn't look like she's entirely certain she believes you.
The look on Todd's face is not helping the situation.
And actually, Joey kind of brushes past, not in a rush, but brushes past Todd, kind of having him sort of turn as he's walking forward. And he's just like, I understand. I lost someone as well, maybe not as close, but look, we can't just hide in here. We have to move. We have to get out of here. Right? Would you agree with that?
She kind of nods. She says, no, you're right. We should go. I just don't know where. There's these... God, I can't believe I'm saying this. These zombies, or whatever they are, they're all over the place. The things that they're able to do with their bodies, they don't seem to feel pain. They don't register danger. They have no fear. I'm just having a hard time even wrapping my head around all of this. I'm sorry.
Well, you're not the only one.
My girl, I get you, But, like, they're also stupid, so we can just outsmart them, right? We just gotta avoid them and outsmart them. It'll be fine. Like, it'll be good, girl. Don't worry.
Can the two of us get a charm roll?
Yes, you can. And she specifically turns towards Kai and she says, just stop calling me girl. If you would, please.
Oh, right, ma'am. I mean, whatever. You're looking pretty fly, so I assume you're just, not that old yet, right?
You're not. Okay, so what have you guys got on charm?
Well, my charm is a 2. And I rolled a 9 and a 10. So I'm hella fucking charming.
Do we get 2 dice on that, or?
Oh, yeah. I assumed I got 2 dice because he's definitely a pro at chatting people up.
Yeah, I would say that Joey could definitely qualify as an expert in charm. You negotiating through discussion.
Yeah, he's got a 1 in charm, so
he shouldn't have a 1. 2 should be the lowest that he could get.
okay.
As far as an assignment, because there has to be room for failure.
I got
Hey,
you.
So Kai definitely is an expert in this. Would you say he's prepared at chatting people up?
I don't know if he really necessarily would have been prepared in this particular situation. Because you guys, these are the first other survivors that you've come across since you've kind of started on this, and I don't think that it was expected that you would have found somebody right around the corner. So I think 2 is probably good for this situation.
All right. Well, I still got a double success, so.
And got a 7 and an 8, and you said his charm was a 2. Excellent. Okay.
Yeah, mine is also a 2.
Fantastic. So both of you have successes and do it well. So she definitely seems to kind of mull it over for a minute. And kind of, she's almost studying each of you kind of in turn for just a bit. And she sighs. And she kind of, readjusts her grip on the bat in a slightly more resolved way. And she says, okay. All right, let's do this. I'll go with you wherever we're going. Okay. So the 2 of you have had 2 new NPCs join your group. The first of which is Ryan Jones. He is a brash soldier. We'll get into his stats if we need to. And the second is Maria Mortensen. Through a small amount of discussion, as you're making your way deeper into the stadium, you discover that she is a determined medic. Likewise, we will get into her stats if it comes up. Dave, since you are down a character, and likewise, Jeff, since you started the game with only 1, if the 2 of you wish, you may take on these NPCs as your secondary characters.
Sure.
Okay. Do you have a preference, Dave?
Maybe Ryan. He's
Okay.
a brash soldier. Is that okay, Jeff?
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, he has a brash soldier. And I will put his stats in the side, unless you are prepared to write them down.
I'm prepared.
Okay. His grace versus force is a 6. His knowledge versus instinct is a 4. His subtlety versus flair is a 7. His speed versus control is a 3. His charm versus intimidation is a 2. Maria, Jeff, if you want to write her down. Maria Mortensen is a determined medic. Her grace versus force is a 4. Knowledge versus instinct is a 3. Subtlety versus flair is a 5. Speed versus control is a 7. And her charm versus intimidation is a 4. So the 2 of them decide to take you up on your offer, both accepting the weapons from you as well as joining you in your quest, if you will, your adventure. So you know that on this floor that the security room once again, told to you because of Carlos's intimate knowledge of this place, is able to tell you that the security room is just down this hallway that kind of runs more or less parallel to the field. That it's down a ways, and then there will be a couple of doors that you'll have to go through once you get there, a couple of checkpoints. And this hallway that you are about to head into, there's another door that you have to kind of open to get into this hallway that runs parallel to the field. Looking through the small little kind of window that's got the the diagonal hash wires inside of it, looking through there, you can see that there's a number of these creatures that are kind of milling about in here. I would say if you stand and watch for maybe a minute, you can see that there's at least 10 of them in various places up and down this hallway. And in addition, about halfway down the hall, you see two things that kind of, well, it's two objects that are together that kind of might catch your eye. There is a kind of like one of those, it's not quite an ATV, but it's the kind of thing where they're able to drive and it has a seat on the back where two people can kind of sit, and it carts people back and forth. But instead of there being enough room to sit on the back, there is currently kind of a large contraption that looks like it's got a tripod and a bunch of wheels and gears and stuff on it. If Todd takes a look, he would be able to tell you, or if Ryan, either one, takes a look, you would be able to determine very easily that this is a pitching machine.
Todd hasn't took his eyes off Ryan this whole time.
Fair enough.
I'm on him.
Hey, Jeremy. The time that we're downstairs, could I have taken a different belt and used it to, you know, that seat thing we had? Attach the belt to it so I could hold the seat like a shield?
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Good. Kate is getting battle armored ready.
Yeah, she's in the catcher gear, and then she also has the bottom part of a stadium seat as a shield.
And a bat. She's basically a paladin.
Basically.
Basically.
The zombie equivalent.
Ryan just looks over at Todd and just like, what the hell, man?
What? What is it, man? What?
You've been eyeballing me, especially now, but you've had a problem with me since the beginning, and I don't know what I did other than just join the team.
Hot shot like you walks on board, steals the spotlight from someone who's earned it like me.
I couldn't have stole the spotlight unless you let me. So I think that's just comes down to your skill, son.
Well, I guess we'll just have to see.
Look, right now, I think we got bigger fish to fry than who's got the bigger bat in this situation. We both got wood, obviously. So, but if we want to throw down right here, I mean,
your jokes won't get you anywhere, Ryan. This is a real problem. I don't know. I've never played the cocky baseball player before.
That's all right. But we're in the
Are
shit,
there
dude.
cocky baseball players?
I would imagine. We're in the shit, man. Just drop the false pretenses and let's just get along, all right?
Maybe he'll like drop the bat a little bit. You know, look over to Jen, who's like pulling on his arm. You know, an exhale of Not necessarily relief, but maybe just a first calm breath for a second.
That Carlos would step in and he would be like, look, at the moment we need to survive. If you guys want to hash it out afterwards, by all means, but let's get the hell out of here first.
Yeah, and Ryan looks over at you again and he says, look, for the record, she hit on me first. So holding that against me.
He'll pull his arm away from Jen.
So I didn't, that was all her. All right, buddy?
She'll look at Ryan and look back to Todd and back to Ryan. And she won't say anything.
Kate's gonna say, okay, if you guys are done with your soap opera, there's an apocalypse to survive.
Yeah, there is. And he walks over and he just kind of holds his hand out to Todd real quick. And he's like, truce for now?
He'll look at you, but he won't shake your hand. He'll just turn to leave.
Yeah, dick. Ryan makes an effort to not stand in front of him. That would be prime real estate for a baseball back to the back of the head.
So Jesus would be like, what are we gonna do? There's all these zombies over here, and I'm pretty sure if I draw another baseball, they're just gonna come at us.
Were there zombies coming for us? Or are they're on the other side of the door, right?
Yeah, so essentially you're kind of looking through this narrow window in this door into a hallway that kind of runs perpendicular to the one that you were in. And this hallway is very long and it's wide. So it's used for getting around these various places that are kind of scattered throughout the stadium. And it more or less kind of runs parallel to the shape of the stadium.
Right.
And so there's a bunch of these zombies that are kind of milling about, scattered throughout this tunnel that you're able to see. And then, like I said, the vehicle with the pitching machine is about halfway down the length of hallway that you're able to see from where you're at.
I think post conversation, Todd would. I picture kind of more of those like the depress the button, push open doors. So like I kind of like blow through those. Like I'll show you who is in the spotlight. And there was one like kind of close to the door.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I don't even look at any of the other ones. That one's getting hit.
Right. Swing of the fence.
I'm gonna go with flair on this one because I'm showing off. But
Sure.
I
Give
wouldn't.
the bat a twirl.
Probably an expert, but I don't know if I'm necessarily prepared. It's been a while since I was in the spotlight.
Okay, I'd say that's fair.
My flair, my salty flair is 5, so I got a 2 and a 4. 2 successes. So, all right. So this zombie who this is actually a fatter guy. This is a guy whose like shirt is kind of like rolled up on his pronounced beer gut. He's had tickets to every game in the last 12 years, and he doubles his cost in just beer and nachos alone. He really, as soon as I hit him, it was like a balloon of blood. He kind of just squirts out the front along the wall next to me, and like it probably gets on me too. And I just look back at Ryan and kind of get my next target, but I'll let the rest of the party kind of act in response.
Do the rest of the zombies notice the commotion?
Oh yeah, so definitely when Todd kind of blows through these doors, they very much make a kapong, kind of metal noise and fly open with enough force that they actually slam against the concrete and cinder block walls on either side. So almost in unison, all of the zombies in this hallway kind of swing their heads in that direction and let out kind of variations of that same kind of noise, and are definitely starting in your direction.
And how many you said were after he dropped that one?
There's about a dozen of them that you guys could see through the window before this door was open. And now that this door is open, you can see that there's about 20 total.
Are they running at us or walking?
Oh, they're running.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, God. Yeah, Ryan shakes his head and just actually sprints after him because you can't let him have the spotlight. And he goes for a swing as well. And I would imagine he's going for force in this case. You said to add a D8 with the baseball bat?
No, I'm sorry. The baseball bat, every time you're using one of these weapons, they have a usage die. Okay. So what you should be doing is whenever you make an attack with one of these weapons is roll the usage die. And if there is a 1 or a 2, then it drops down by a die type.
Okay.
If it was at a D4 and you roll and it was a 1 or a 2, then it is destroyed or depleted.
I got you. Okay. So with force, considering that he is the star hitter, does he get 2 dice with that, or?
Yeah, I would definitely say it sounded like since he didn't have a bat that he's probably not prepared to use it on a person just yet. But I would definitely say he qualifies as an expert. So yeah, 2 dice.
Okay. All right, and he's trying to roll over force, right?
With a force that is a higher number, so he wants to get a beneath it.
Okay, so he got 1 beneath it.
Yeah, so his force is a 6.
Yeah.
Okay, what did he get?
He got a 5 and a 7, so.
Okay. So 1 success at a cost. So he manages to connect and take this zombie down. But when he does so, he swings hard enough that it kind of passes through. Again, these things are kind of squishy for being made of bone and muscle. So it actually follows through more than he might have expected and actually connects with a pole that this thing was next to. So what I'm going to have you do is the complications is instead of just rolling the once for the attack, I'm going to have you roll twice against your bat.
And you said it was on a 1 or a 2, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. So the first time I got a 3, and the second time I got a 5. So.
Okay, excellent. So even though it makes pretty solid contact, apparently there was enough of the gray matter or hair or combination, maybe a hat or something on this zombie that it cushioned the blow enough between your bat and this pole that the bat seems to be just fine.
Okay.
Okay, so that takes us through the turns of Todd and Ryan. So who would like to go next?
I guess Kate will run up. She's not trying to be a show off like all these other pricks, but she's ready to kill some zombies, mostly to keep her brother safe. So force. I don't know. Is she prepared? Does she count as prepared?
All right, we're switching my soundtrack over. Yeah, at this point, I would say so. We're deep enough in. She's had to do this more than once, so I'm cool with calling her prepared at this point.
All right, but she's probably not an expert yet. She's got to do it a couple more times to become an expert, right?
Yeah, at least a little while.
I got 7 and a 3, and my force is an 8, so that's 2 successes. So she runs in with her, her little shield up first, and then she just whacks over the shield. Clubs one of the zombies in the face.
Absolutely. Yeah, and this one just kind of caves under the direct kind of downward pressure. It kind of, the neck goes at a sickening angle, and the whole thing just collapses. The whole person collapses into a heap on the floor. Okay. Who's next?
All right, so Jesus would be like, fuck this, I'm not gonna die like this. So he would like run up to Joey and like grab the keys that he gave him earlier, and he would turn around and he would tell Carlos, watch my back, and he would start like sprinting towards that machine so he can turn it on and like ride it. What he wants to do is get in it and run it around the corner, and then he's gonna jam his baseball bat in the gas and just get off of it while it's going down the hallway, so that way you can like trap them where it's gonna be hard for them to get through, or at least run some of them over.
Okay, so yeah, he's going to make a mad dash towards this little vehicle and try to get it started up. Okay, so to avoid any of the zombies that are kind of between you and here, you and there, are you just going to try to do it with speed and agility?
Yes.
Okay. So because you are somewhat used to this kind of thing, I would definitely say that you have an extra die for being an expert. So go ahead and roll me 2 dice and let me know how it goes.
My speed is 2, so that means if I get higher, it's a success, right?
Yes, that is correct.
I got a 5 and a 6.
Excellent. That's 2 successes. And okay. Yeah, so you very, very narrowly avoid 2 of them trying to reach out and grab a hold of you. I would even say that maybe a part of your uniform might actually get torn as one of them grabbed a hold of a sleeve or maybe a lower pant leg or something as you manage to blast past them and get to this vehicle. And you're kind of getting through the keys, trying to find the one that might operate this. Who's next?
I mean, Kai can go. Much to the disapproval of his sister, Kai's gonna run up because he wants to also help. He's got one of the baseball bats. Actually, no, screw that. He's got 2 baseball bats, and he's gonna try and chop at them, like side right. He's not like super knowledgeable about killing things with baseball bats, but so he probably only gets 1 die. You think?
Yeah, I would think he would get his normal base die, and then with he's using 2 dice of what is his grace?
His grace is he has an 8. He's not graceful.
So he's mostly forceful.
Mhm.
Okay, so I would say that even though he's able to wield 2 baseball bats, because he's not really particularly dexterous, he's not going to get an extra die for wielding the second one at the moment, at least.
No, I think it's more like he's trying to flurry. That makes more sense for him.
Okay.
You
So
know,
you're
more,
going with forceful?
I mean, forceful or speed.
Okay, yeah, let's do speed. And then, yeah, with speed, I will say that, yeah, you can get a second die.
All right, cool. Then after he does this a couple times, he'll get prepared. My speed is a 3, and I rolled a 3 and a 6.
Excellent. So you earn yourself an additional narrow escape point, and that is 2 successes. So what does it look like?
Well, so there's actually the only reason why he ran up is because one was getting close to his sister, and his sister didn't see it, and he's like, "Oh fuck no," and he ran up and he just hits it. And the first hit killed it, but he doesn't know that, so he just keeps swinging and he beats the thing to a pulp. And he gets up, like he hunches over a little bit to keep hitting, and he gets up and he's like, "Oh fuck, man, I lost my chill."
Yeah, and you're probably covered with quite a bit of your loss of chill, as a matter of fact. All right. Who's next?
So I think as everyone else is kind of like charging through this door and into this crowd, Terry is not quite the the warrior that everyone else seems to have become. I'm actually just going to try to stay in the back of our crowd as people start charging and hide. Because everyone else runs forward, I'm just going to stay.
Okay, excellent.
I
So,
think Jen is actually probably going to be looking for an alternate route than everyone else, just because she has been put into a awkward social situation for the regular world, and this isn't the regular world, but that's how it's being handled. So
okay. So it sounds like from Terry, if I could get a subtlety roll, and from Jin, maybe an instinct roll. It could probably go either way, either knowledge or instinct, truthfully.
I'll roll for it, I guess.
Which one are you going with?
Alrighty.
We're
What kind
going.
of dice numbers are we
All
looking
right.
at here?
For Terry's subtlety, you are. What is your style and roll again?
Sneaky scout.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. So I would say go with 3 dice.
Perfect.
And I'm going with knowledge.
Okay. And what is her style and roll again?
She is a smart talker.
Smart talker. Okay. So definitely 2 dice, I think.
Fair enough. My knowledge is a 3. I got a 2 and a 6. So 1 failure, 1 success.
Okay, excellent. And Terry?
No, that was for Jen.
Right. Thank you.
Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at 3 successes with one of them being a 3. So we're rocking and rolling.
Excellent. So you earned yourself a narrow escape point, and you succeed with a critical. So, why don't you tell me narratively something that that goes really well with Terry's hiding?
Yeah, I imagine it's like everyone like busts through this door and begins to charge. Like he just kind of lets the door like keep opening, and he's basically gonna like pull it back, to kind of form like almost like a wedge between like the wall and the door, and kind of like crouch down behind it. Like he's tiny, abnormally small for a male of his age. He's basically just gonna use that wedge as just this corner. And he basically just like, as everyone else is charging, the zombies aren't even looking. His allies probably aren't even looking, and he basically just disappears.
Excellent. Okay. And Jen got a success with a cost. So she's looking for an alternate route. She kind of notices, again, that this kind of follows the curve of the field, if you will. And she notices that there's a couple of cross hallways that lead back towards the field itself. So the route that she has succeeded in finding will, it looks like, circumvent this hallway by kind of heading back closer to the field, perhaps even out into the stands. And the obvious complication to that is that it may not necessarily be a better route. Okay. Was there anyone else that hasn't taken an action yet?
Yeah, Joey is trying to figure out how he can help because he's not necessarily a martially type, and he's kind of, he heard Terry kind of hunkering down back there, and he saw Jen make a break for it, and he's just kind of shaking his head. And so we have some baseballs still, right?
Yeah, definitely. I don't know how many necessarily amongst the group, because it's kind of somewhat abstract, because it's just handled with the usage die. But there's definitely still some amongst the group.
Even the cans of beer, are you imagining that they'd be thrown at their heads or something?
It's definitely a possibility. Like I said, they have some heft to them with their full. And just because it would be fun, I think they'd probably fit rather well in the pitching machine also.
Oh, that's true. I'm going to go over there and, well, I mean, they've got baseballs for that, so I'm just going to huck one of them at a zombie then. Probably using... yeah, he's trying to figure out a stat that would be appropriate for that under his circumstances.
Maybe control?
Yeah, control
Yeah.
is what I was gonna say.
Yep. Control could be a good one for aiming.
Okay.
Or maybe instinct?
Well, he's more speed than he is control, but yeah, probably going off instinct. So let's go with that.
Dave, why don't you tell me what position it is that Ryan plays for this baseball team?
Oh, Ryan already swung. This is Joey, right?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, never mind.
That's why I'm kind of like, because he's a software engineer. So
sure. Okay.
He's gonna huck this beer can.
All right.
And he got a 9, going off of instinct. So that's higher than the 3. It's a 3 in knowledge. So
okay. So yeah, let's see here. Okay, so how it gets worse somehow. Let's see. So you hurl this this beer can at one of them, trying to beam him with it, and it sails right past this zombie and slams against the wall right beside where Jesus is trying to get this vehicle started. And it hits and just sprays everywhere, drawing the attention of the zombies that are in that immediate area, who had been kind of turning and heading towards the rest of the group and where the door had opened and caused so much racket. But there's 3 of them that have now pulled away from the congregation, if you will, and are now heading straight for Jesus.
Fuck.
And in that note, since Jesus had asked Carlos to like watch his back, Carlos would start like walking close to around the corner, and he would swing at the closest zombie going towards him.
He's going to try to head off some of the ones that are now running towards Jesus.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. He is likewise wielding a baseball bat?
Yes.
All right. So he is going with a forceful approach?
Yes, sir.
All right. So, again, I think this is, I think Carlos has done this a couple of times now, if I'm not mistaken. So, and he is a soldier. So, okay. I would say he qualifies for 2 dice.
So my force is 8, and I got a 2 and a 5.
All right, so that's 2 successes. So what does it look like as he stops one of these 3 from closing with Jesus?
I can see that one of the zombies is running right around the corner. He takes the bat and brings it down, and then just brings it upwards. He hits it like right in the shin, and you just see the zombie go up and then back down, and his head is like pretty much bent in half, like it just in the back. He's in the side squirming.
Absolutely. All right. So Was there anybody else that hasn't taken a turn yet? Okay. So the zombies have begun to close in. And there's still quite a few of them left. At least a dozen or so. And two of them, particularly, were trying to close with Jesus. One of them was stopped. One of the three was stopped by Carlos. But each, both Carlos and Jesus are going to have one of these creatures that closes to them and attempts to start biting at them. So, Jose, if you would, for both Jesus and Carlos, if you would please tell me how they're going to try to get out of this situation of getting bitten.
Well, I can see Jesus is just sitting there trying to crunch this machine open. The zombies are coming. And he got his other hand with the bat, like, hold on, folded. And as the zombie comes, he would turn around where it would land right in his mouth, and he's trying to, like, swallow it. And then Carlos, he would, I guess he would try to back up and push the zombie with his bat, see if he can get a clean shot at it.
Okay, so for Jesus, it sounds like possibly control, trying to be very specific about where he puts the bat to try to keep this creature at bay. So if you would, go ahead, please, and roll me a control. And he's definitely not an expert or prepared in this situation, I don't think. So I think one die is probably going to be it.
He has, in that category, 2 speed. And the roll was a 6.
Okay, so that unfortunately is not going to do it. And the zombie, meanwhile, with his force, manages to get 1 shift of damage in. So, as the bat kind of fails to completely stop this creature from getting to Jesus, would you please go ahead and roll Jesus's health die?
Could I use one of my points?
Yes, you absolutely can.
Okay, I would like to.
On the caveat that you describe how you narrowly escape this thing biting you.
So the zombie would be coming down to grab him, and as the zombie gets close, he would, like, back up, and it would end up biting some of his, like, neck, like, his jumpsuit, and he would just run out, and pretty much the thing rips, and he just runs out of there.
Okay, so Jesus, you've narrowly escaped. And how is Carlos? You said he's trying to push him back with his bat?
Yes.
Okay, that sounds either like control or force. I'll let you choose.
I'll use force. So 1 die then?
He's a soldier. That's his role.
Yes.
I can give him a 2nd die in this situation for sure.
Okay. Yeah, he's a tough soldier. All right. His force is 8, and I got 2 5s.
Excellent. I also got 2, so that means that you managed to keep him at bay with your bat so that he's not able to get at you. All right. There are still several others in the hallway. There's going to be enough for effectively everybody except for Terry, who managed to hide. Everybody's going to have 1 that comes up to you. So, each one of you, in turn, if you would please describe to me how your characters are going to try to avoid getting bitten or scratched by your assailant. And then we will kind of determine what the roles are going to have to be.
Well, Kate is gonna try and interpose her shield and even like bash them with the shield to keep them away. And Kai is just gonna be swinging all crazy. So the likelihood of anything actually getting through his flurry of bats is unlikely.
Okay, so that definitely sounds like speed. And again, he'll qualify for his second die because he's got the second bat.
All right. Well, I guess I'll roll for Kai first then. I got a 10 and a 2. My speed is 3, so I think that's 1 success, right?
Yes. And the zombie only got 1 success, so that that succeeds in avoiding the damage. And what about Kate?
Well, Kate is gonna probably use force, right? She's gonna.
Sure, absolutely. And with all the gear that she's gotten, she definitely would qualify for a second die. And what is her skill and or her style and role again?
She's a smart engineer.
I would say that in this situation, she's engineered a lot of this kind of stuff around her, so she can qualify for a third die.
Oh, dope. She's gonna do so good. Okay, well that's fucking dope. I rolled 2 8s and a 2. And my number is an 8. So racking them fucking shit up.
Okay. So yeah, you managed to avoid it as well.
Is someone supposed to roll under my die?
Or tie it.
So that's 3 successes then? Do I like counterattack and kill it?
Not quite. But you do get a, well, in this situation, you wouldn't necessarily get a critical success because you were just trying to stave off damage.
Okay.
Okay.
I rolled a lot of fucking 8s, even when I wasn't supposed to roll an 8.
Hey, it earned you those points. Okay. So who else would like to resolve the attacks that are incoming?
I don't know if Jen had been intercepted by any zombies, but Todd was definitely in the thick of it.
Yeah,
And
I would say one definitely kind of was able to follow Jen as she was investigating her alternate route.
I think she may have like ducked behind like a corner. 'Cause she has a fire extinguisher still somehow. So she might have like swung at it as it came around the corner. Kind of like as like a aware of its presence around her, kind of knowing where it's at, using that to advantage. Like I said, she isn't dumb. She just took the easy way out.
Sure. So that definitely sounds like either instinct or subtlety to me.
I'm terrible at both, so I'll go instinct.
Okay. So it definitely sounds like you qualify for a prepared die, as you were kind of, positioning around the corner and waiting for it to make its move. So you should have 2 dice, sounds like.
I rolled my number and a failure. So I got 1 success, 1 failure, but a narrow escape.
Okay. So yeah, you definitely earned a narrow escape point, and unfortunately I did roll 2 successes on the attack that's incoming. So, though you got 1 success, that does mean that 1 shift of damage makes it through. So you'll need to roll your d4 unless you wish to cash in a point.
I'm going to go ahead and cash in that narrow escape right now. One
All right.
solid action. So maybe, like, I didn't hit him in the face. He was taller. My instincts were off. Calculated wrong. Kind of just, like, battered him in the chest. And this I picture to be a bigger dude than Jen. So, he's able to reach over her and kind of grab at her. But that is when she, pulls the pin and sprays him in the face, and it cools him off a bit, so he slows down. But I am going to roll my Player extinguisher is a D10.
Only the case.
Yeah,
of the
that's what I'm
extinguisher.
rolling for, is the hit that
Yeah,
I
sure.
did. All right, so the fire extinguisher is still intact, but it does not have anything in it.
Excellent.
And then Todd being in the thick of it and still trying to show off, I think after he hit that first one, you know, made eye contact with Ryan. Is Ryan ahead of me?
He initially said he was behind you, but
Well, I think that he rushed up and Todd rushed up to get the nearest one, if I weren't mistaken. So
That's
I would
true.
have had to go a little further ahead of him to accomplish.
Yeah, so I would say he's definitely deeper in the hallway than you are.
All right, well, that is unacceptable. So Todd, he sprints at this next one that he sees, because I think a couple more people have flooded in ahead of me as well. And maybe they had missed one or just kind of snuck past. And I am going to jump and kick this one square in the chest, trying to push it over. I'm going for like a flare or a force.
Yeah, I would grant either one of those.
I'm gonna go force. I'm into it. I probably am not an expert, but I would say I'm probably not even prepared.
Okay, and this is by way of defense, correct?
Oh,
so,
is that yeah. I was
so,
yeah.
Yeah, this one that's kind of running to get at you, you are going to attempt to kind of, jump kick to keep it from getting to you, essentially.
Basically, an over-the-top maneuver to show off that ultimately may bite me in the ass. So I'm
Okay.
going to say one die.
Okay. He's athletic, so I think he could probably qualify for a second if you like.
I mean, I'll take 2. My score is a 7, and I got a 3 and a 9, so 1 success, 1 failure. Good thing I took that second one.
Excellent. I also have a shift coming your way, though, because I got 2 successes on the roll. So if you'd like to spend another point, you may, or if not,
I only have 1. So.
All right. So we're going to roll that D4 health die.
So I hit the ground, and the zombie falls on top of me. There are no screams. There are no shrieks of terror. Just anguish and disappointment as Todd's head rolls to the side and makes eye contact with Ryan one last time. And the zombie opens his neck and lets the blood begin to flow.
And it very, very quickly pools beneath him.
And Ryan just says, "Dude, it wasn't worth it."
All right. We still have, I think, 3 attacks that we need to resolve. And it sounds like we're probably not going to make it much further than that tonight. We'll have to call it and probably schedule a second one if anybody's interested in a part 2. So the 3 attacks that we still have to deal with, I believe we have to deal with Ryan and Joey and then Maria. Dave, you want to handle yours next?
Sure. Yeah, Ryan is up near the front there, and as he's looking down at him, kind of honestly, he's genuinely sad at it because it was just fucking lame the way he got taken out. And as he looks up, he's still got a bat, and he's just starts swinging it like, back and forth to try to get the thing off of him. The big one that's coming to attack him. So kind of like warm-ups, but he's just basically swinging it back and forth trying to keep it off of him. So I would imagine that is Yeah, probably. It's not flare. It's probably control.
Yeah, I would say control or maybe even force. Either one would probably work.
Yeah, because he could be being forceful with it, and he's done it before because he's practiced limbering up with the bat. So
Absolutely. I would say he probably qualifies for 3 dice in this situation.
all right. All right, so that's a total of an 8, a 6, and a 3, and force is a 6. So, but he did roll a 1 on the D8.
Okay, so yeah, his bat will become a D6 usage die type now.
Okay.
There's a hairline fracture from swinging his back and forth as he connects with somebody's tooth or something. And so we got 2 successes, one of which was a narrow escape point. And he had 2 shifts of damage coming in. So he managed to definitely keep that one at bay. And how about Joey?
Joey is he just kind of freaks out. Like he just starts slapping because like I said, he's just not Marshall. So he's just like shit, shit, shit. He's slapping off of him. So I would imagine at this point it's probably he's going fully off of instinct at this point. Instinct, fight for survival. And it's probably only a 1 die because he's, yeah. He rolled a 10. And his instinct is, well, he's more on the knowledge side. So he's got a 3 in knowledge. So that means that.
Okay. All right, so this one makes it through. So unless you want to cash in a point, you're going to need to roll on that health die.
Yeah, I'm going to cash in on a narrow escape.
Okay, so go ahead and describe what that looks like.
So he is slapping him away, and at this point, he's lost all. There's no shame in what he's doing. He's actually, his voice is going higher. He's sounding like a little girl, and he's okay with that at this very moment as he starts kicking out at this thing. And just as it starts getting his shirt, he somehow comes up and just breaks the hold in a flailing attempt and pushes the thing back onto the floor as he stumbles back and probably falls himself and begins scooting on his ass trying to get away from this thing.
Absolutely. And it's fallen to the ground and is kind of floundering about, trying to regain some semblance of standing, and ultimately opts to just kind of flop over onto its belly and then begins to almost crawl / army crawl, just almost like it's trying to swim along the ground, trying to get at the fallen Joey as fast as it can.
And Joey actually pisses his pants. I mean, considering everything that's happened right now, and he's just not used to this type, he just loses it.
I think that makes great sense. So, last but certainly not least, we have Maria. So, Jeff, would you please describe how this attack is coming at Maria and what she's going to attempt to do to avoid it?
Yeah, so I imagine one of the zombies kind of locks eyes with her and begins to start moving into a jog, and then it's shambling sprint. Maria picks up one of the bats that one of the other people have dropped. Is basically going to try to like hold it out and basically use it basically to try to guide the zombie like in a certain direction that she can avoid more easily. Basically trying to like hold it out almost like a spear and try to direct it in a way that's best for her. So I'm thinking that would probably be control.
Yeah, I think that sounds fantastic. Okay, and certainly not an expert in this situation or with the equipment she's using, but I had kind of envisioned her being a determined medic, that she was probably an ER nurse. So she may have had to deal with unruly people before. So I'm going to say that although she's not an expert in this situation, that she's well, although she's not prepared in this situation, she's probably an expert at kind of dealing with people that are wound up. So you can go ahead and have 2 dice.
Perfect. And that is a control, which he has a 7 in. It's going to be an 8 and a 4, so 1 pass, 1 fail.
Okay. Once again, I got 2 shifts of damage. So you can either cash in a point, or I'm going to need a health die roll from you.
Those points are from my boy Terry, so rolling it is. And that's a 2.
Okay. So please describe how it is that although she's trying her best to control this thing at the end of this baseball bat, that it manages to get a vital piece of Maria.
Yeah, I imagine it's like, there's things that you can try on humans that wouldn't work on like an animal, like because humans think. So like she tries to like hold out the bat to try to like guide it into a certain position, but it just like bull rushes as if there was not even anything there. It just rushes, like breaking just past the bat. She's not strong enough to hold on to it or actually push the thing away, as it just begins like clawing and pushing in past her defenses, which aren't able to hold it back.
And it finally gets a hold of her, knocking this bat almost flaccidly away, and just tears into her jugular. And very, very, very quickly, she drops to the ground and grows still with little more than a gurgle. And with the situation looking rather dire, with 2 survivors now down, making our 3rd strike for the evening, we are going to go ahead and call it here. We did not get quite as far as I had planned, but such is the way in many of my games. Unfortunately, I cannot pace a game very well. So we will have to.
I wouldn't say it's pacing. We just like to talk a lot.
Oh no, man! You guys are doing great. I'm glad that you're injecting as much humanity and character into it as you guys have been. It's made it a lot more of a joy than just talking numbers all night.
If anything, the effort that you put into it, we at least try to match.
I appreciate that. So before we finally wrap it up completely for this evening at least, I want to thank everybody who has been tuning in this evening. For everybody who may be watching at some point later on, thank you very, very much from the bottom of my heart. When I see people viewing my games, whether it's live or not, it honestly means a lot to me. It makes me feel good that to know that my passion is something that entertains people. That's a very, very fulfilling thing for me. So thank you very much for tuning in. I've had a lot of fun. I think there's definitely some things I need to work on getting ironed out with the system, but I like it so far. It seems to be running well. I'm going to let my players do their outros before we call it a night officially. So, Jose, why don't you lead us off?
Hey guys, my name is Jose, and I don't have a YouTube channel, so eventually I'll get one. But I was playing Jesus and Carlos. Jesus is a janitor. He's really sneaky, really fast. Carlos is ex-soldier, so it's kind of a brute. But it was a great game, and thank you for inviting me. I had a blast.
Excellent. So did I, Jose. I'm glad that you and I finally got the chance to play together, where one of us is running the game, the other one's playing. That's nice. And I'm sure it won't be the last time. So, Jeff, you're up.
Yes, I am Jeff. I have a YouTube channel called Balance and a podcast that I do with Jeremy called Dudes of Yore. If you want to check those out, feel free. And yeah, having a good time so far. My first time getting to finally play in your system since it's come out. I've been eyeing it in a couple of different games that you've ran so far, and it's cool to finally be able to see it in action, in live and in person.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, and I'm glad that you've gotten the chance to play it. I'll be able to pick your brain a little bit about what you think, a little bit off the air. Excellent. Okay, Dave, you're up.
Had a lot of fun tonight. It was good to finally play with Jose. Played with all these other jokers before, but no, they're a lot of fun. I've had a lot of fun tonight. I kind of expected it would be gory and delightful, and did not. It did not. The word eludes me at the moment. I must be brain dead. No pun intended. But yeah, looking forward to wrapping this up and see where it goes from here. So we fondly remember those that have fallen.
Certain. And thank you, Dave, for being such a great sport about losing both of your characters, especially after you put the effort into making those fantastic baseball cards for them for your overlay. Okay, Baron, you're up.
All right, so I kind of whiffed my intro there. I haven't played online in a while. I've been all home game recently. So I'm Baron. I'm over at RWD. RWD Gaming. We do tabletop videos. We do some Overwatch videos. I think we have plans to venture further into video games, and I've got plans for some tabletop related videos. Always a pleasure to be featured in the Erasmus expeditions. Always have a good time, and always a privilege to play with these fine players that I've played with everyone here at least twice, and it's always a good time. So looking forward to coming back, and I will probably see you guys the same time, same place on Wednesday, because I believe I'm in the Ghostbusters game.
Yes, sir, and I'll touch on that in just a second here. Okay, and last but certainly not least, Alex.
I don't have a YouTube channel, so I'm Alex Baldwin, and I like to play games with Jeremy. And then also with other people. That's good too. Yeah, I don't know. I'm really fucking tired.
I got the best compliment from Alex the other day. You're the second best choice besides me. Like,
that's
you know
true.
what, man? I'll take it. I'll take it.
It was a moment of weakness, I'm sure. Just kidding.
Those of you who are unaware, Alex is a very humble person, very modest.
Very modest.
In a lot of ways.
You know, if I was humble, I'd be perfect.
It was just funny. I was like, you're in. And Alex is like, good choice, I guess. Like, all right, that's the closest thing I've ever received to a compliment from you, and I'll take it.
Fantastic, guys. Yeah, I've already thanked everybody who is a viewer, but the 5 of you, thank you. Above and beyond is definitely what I could use to describe each one of your play styles and the character choices that you made before the game as well as in game. So, and ultimately, I mean, you guys are what brings life, no pun intended, to this game featuring undead. It's a joy to play with the 4 of you again, who I have played with before, as well as a joy to play with you for the first time, Jose. And I will do it again in a heartbeat. So, Yeah, I thank you guys very, very much, and thank you for playing the game. Thank you for playing this system with me, and I look forward to getting into the second part and kind of wrapping up the story for you guys. So yeah, I've been Jeremy. This is the Erasmus Expeditions. This was the Expedition Engine, the version of which is called Dead End, the Zombie Apocalypse. Baron is absolutely correct. There is another Expedition Engine game running this Wednesday, the day after Halloween. This one is going to be Ghostbusters themed, the title of which is The Echoes of Salem. So definitely tune in and give us another watch then. Hopefully, we're going to kind of cram in as much Halloween goodness as we can here around the holiday. And yeah, it should be a lot of fun, I hope. And thank you guys. So without further ado, until next time, may your dice roll high and your snacks always be within reach.